All right, the build-up to get home is underway, especially if you are going northbound 65 over on the West Loop, if you're eastbound 24 on the East Loop, and then beyond all the way down to Bell Road. You're going to be in some stop and go there. Eastbound 440 from 65 over to 24. Same old, same old. Got a crash now blocking the left lane, 65 northbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. And then the off-ramp is partially blocked, 65 northbound to I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. It's just after 3 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy. Conveniently, this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Pleased to have you on board for this Friday edition. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever's on your mind. If there's something that we've not gotten to over the first 4 days of the week, or perhaps you want to address something that we did get to that you were unable to address at the time, now's your opportunity. This is an open line forum. First Amendment Freestyle Friday is for you. Well, then we break it down at 4 o'clock, and we call it Frijay, which is a slightly different thing. And we're breaking it down a little differently in the 3 o'clock hour because we have a very special guest. More on her in just a moment. It's Friday, July 25th. I hope you know that by now. It is our episode 850. 850 of these visits together since 2021, and it feels like just yesterday. Let me involve the players of the show, folks you'll be hearing from time to time before we introduce our guest. There's Ken Weaver. He's back in News Closet B, making sure that you're up to date with all of the headlines. He breaks in when news breaks out, and he delivers it twice an hour on the regular. Hello, Mr. Weaver.
How about you boys and Representative Ben?
What is going on, my friend?
Nothing much, man. I'm just back here writing up news and checking on my Oklahoma Sooners, see if they're still going to have a team this year.
Are they?
So far, yes.
So far, so good?
Yes.
I'm telling y'all are going to be good this year.
Stop it.
I'm telling you.
Stop.
Top five, maybe, in conference.
I got to go to Neyland Stadium.
Yeah, well, is that true?
Yes.
I'd fact check true. There's Jackson Williams. He's behind the glass making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. Hello.
What's up?
What's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. That's enough out of you. I got to introduce our guest. Ken Weaver let the cat out of the bag. Representative Aftyn Behn is back with us. She's been on the show in the past. I think this is the first time that we've had you since I shifted from midday to afternoon times. And obviously, it's the first time for you to be on since you announced your candidacy for the 7th Congressional District race, which is up, running, and it'll be here before you know it. Aftyn, good afternoon.
Excited to be here.
How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm great.
Good. It's
Matt
good
Murphy,
to see you.
Friday afternoon. I'm ready to go.
I mean, you're just raring to go. You and I told the folks that you and I had a lovely coffee.
We did.
It was kind of an off-the-record coffee, so I didn't talk about what we talked about, but I appreciate being able to get together and talk.
Me too.
Yeah. So tell me why in the world. I mean, you're so comfortable. What is it? What are you, 52, District 52 right now?
51.
51 in the House. I mean, you're so comfortable. You've got your little niche going. Everybody loves you in District 51, and now you're going to launch a congressional bid. Tell me why.
Well, when you get pissed off enough. No, I've been dealing with a lot of constituents getting cut off our state Medicaid program, 10 Care. They're losing their Social Security benefits, and it just propelled me to jump in this race and be the fighter that I know I am, and because this moment demands bold leadership.
You obviously, you know, I mean, you're learning, I would guess, the congressional district. Have you had an opportunity as of yet? It's fairly early, but this is such a compressed deal, right? I mean, it feels like October will be here just in the blink of an eye, and there's the primary, and then the general in December. So in that compressed amount of time, have you already found yourself out and about in the 7th Congressional District, kind of shaking hands?
Oh, yeah. And I have a long track record in the 7th Congressional District. I've been organizing in Wayne County, Montgomery, Davidson, Williamson. So I've got a lot of folks who have my back and support me, and I'm excited. A lot of grassroots momentum behind my candidacy.
I mean, it's obviously you're not new to this. You've been an activist and an advocate for some amount of time, even predating your representation in the 51st District. I mean, it is somewhat of an uphill battle just considering demographics.
That's right.
Considering, red versus blue, looking at past experience with Mark Green, looking at Donald Trump's success in that district. So you've got to win over. And I think that's part of the reason you're here. Our audience is largely conservative or libertarian. So how do you broach it? How do you start winning those folks over from red side to the blue side?
Well, first I'll start. I think it's important for your listeners to know that in special elections, historically, we've been seeing Democratic shifts almost 16, 17, 18 points to the left. And there's marginal increase when there's a female at the top of the ticket. So for these special elections, a lot of Democrats are paying attention. A lot of Democrats are pissed. However, I do feel like, running on legislation such as ending the grocery tax and my pot for potholes has really pulled people over to my side. And I'm running on affordability and making our communities safer.
So I loved the pot for potholes piece. As a libertarian, I got no issue with it. I just want my roads to be nice and flat and pothole free. And frankly, anybody that walks down Lower Broadway, all of that's already here. So I don't even know what we're doing at this point. So I take no umbrage with that. I think it was a good piece. On the pothole front, I noticed there is, I wanted to ask you about this. There is an announcement. You've probably heard about it. It's the worst kept secret, I think, out there right now in politics, that there's an announcement coming up Monday at B&A Airport. I think it was originally Monday morning. It's going to be Monday afternoon between the state and the Boring Company.
Is this about the Musk tunnel?
Yeah, it's about the tunnel. That they came, I think there's an agreement.
They've reached an agreement?
That's what we are told, that by Monday that there will be some level of an announcement. It doesn't really have – I don't think the city of Nashville wanted anything to do with it. I think Freddie said no, but they reached some sort of an agreement with the state. What say you?
I started – as soon as I learned, the Nashville Business Journal reported that Musk was irking around Nashville trying to get a deal, I immediately launched a petition that garnered – I think it has 2,000 signatures right now – telling Musk to get out of Music City. I think for your listeners, I saw a lot of chatter on the X Files as to...
You call it the X Files? I call it the X Machine.
Any city that Musk has vultured over and any deal that he has struck has not materialized. It
Wildly successful for Las Vegas. So what you just said is factually untrue. The tunnels that he did in Las Vegas have been wildly successful.
That's not what I hear.
Go talk to people in Las Vegas. They say it's wildly successful.
I feel like
you don't think the Tesla Corporation has been successful? It's just a question. You said everything that he touches has not materialized. Tesla?
I think the cities in which I've heard that Vegas is not a success. The municipality is on the hook for billions of dollars that Musk said that he was going to supplement.
They started with a 1.7 mile line. They added another 2 miles of line. They've added another spur that they're about to do. And it was a fixed cost of $47 million. What I hear is that this is going to cost the state of Tennessee, wait for it now, $0. So if I told you, Aftyn, and remains to be seen.
I have a hard time. I have a hard time with it.
Believe in it. You think there's a hook somewhere?
I think there's a hook.
Well, should we not strive? Let's start here. Should it not be a desire of ours to get more, pollution belching cars off the roads?
Yeah, but I think it has to do with rebuilding public infrastructure and rebuilding the state and the municipality's ability to fund public transit rather than bankrolling a billionaire. Elon Musk is the number one government grifter in chief.
Right, but if I were to tell you that this is going to cost the taxpayers $0.
I'll believe it when I see it.
It's a private venture.
I want to see the note. I want to see the note.
It is a private venture in order to, because that would be infrastructure, right? A tunnel would be infrastructure.
But is it like choice lanes then? Like who's paying
no.
to leverage?
It's a private tunnel.
But who's paying for it?
Just as people from the airport to downtown now pay a Uber or a Lyft, they would pay Tesla and I don't know they would pay the tunnel. They pay $15 or $20 to take the tunnel.
I don't want to be beholden to these corporate overlords like Musk. I'm good. I'm going to fund WeGo. I'm going to invest in public transit. And
so
infrastructure.
you would prefer government overlords rather than corporate overlords.
Some days. I just want Musk out of Music City. I just don't like
You just don't like Elon Musk.
I don't.
Okay. I suppose that's fair, but if the deal is structured, I think you're going to be hard pressed to be against the deal if it's structured like I hear it's structured.
All right, it remains to be seen. I'll come back on your show and eat my words. I'll come back on your show and eat my words.
But it's coming. It's apparently coming on Monday, so
Can't wait.
We shall see.
Tune in.
Otherwise, we want. I don't think people are going to ride the bus. People don't ride the bus because
riding the bus.
People don't ride the bus because they want to ride the bus. People ride the bus because they have to ride the bus. You can't make riding the bus cool. And I understand why you would want to have a bus system, and you want to make it the best bus system possible.
Culturally, there are issues with the South and public transit, right? But I think if we can, that is a marketing campaign waiting to happen. I think if I would much rather spend that money towards investing in WeGo and expanding routes, et cetera, rather than allowing Musk insider access to our.
You were a fan of the transit tax, right? What?
The transit tax. I struggled with this one. I struggled with this one because it's a sales. Inevitably it's added to our sales tax, right? Yeah. I struggled with it because that ultimately affects lower income. Yeah. I struggled with it.
If Aftyn Behn had her way,
groceries would be cheap.
Would Tennessee have
pot would be legalized?
Would Tennessee have an income tax? I think it's a fair question.
I think it's a non-starter in this state. It's a non-starter in this state. We have one of the most regressive economic systems in the country. It's 60% of our budget comes from sales taxes, and the lowest income earners pay more of their earnings on sales tax than the wealthiest. And
how does tourists pay a lot of money?
Where's that money going, Matt? Our budget has doubled. Have our roads improved?
It's apparently going to sidewalks and buses.
It's not going to our roads.
Well, but I hear from grandmas and grandpas that are telling me they're going to have to move out of Davidson County because of the property tax increases.
Well, that's not what we're here to. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about my big win.
We're going to talk about your big win. Why can't we? I think people want voters in the 7th Congressional District want a general idea of your philosophy on government. And that's from a tax-based standpoint, you believe sales taxes are regressive in their nature.
Yeah, I believe in corporations paying what they owe, and right now 20% of companies that report over $1 billion of federal taxable income are paying zero. Meanwhile, Tennessee small businesses in my district, restaurants in my district are closing because high overhead costs, and they're paying taxes.
Right, and you and I talked about this in the past, and it's just a difference in the way that you look at this. Corporations don't pay taxes; they pass it along to the consumers that they serve. But if we're in a free market, right? So that was the argument that a lot of conservatives made on the X-Files, which was, okay, if we cut the sales tax on groceries, then these grocery chains will pass that cost onto the consumer. Well, if we have a free market, won't the consumer just go to another grocery store? No. If you cut the sales tax on groceries, that is a tax that's not benefiting the company. That's a tax that's benefiting the government.
Well,
that sales tax is going to the government, not to the company. So the company's just a pass through.
Grocery chains are agnostic, but that's an argument I hear a lot from the conservative side, is that these costs will be passed on, which is just not true, as you just said.
But competitive forces dictate that if you cut the cost of doing business, some businesses will not cut their costs. Other businesses will try to take advantage of market share by trying to cut theirs.
Right.
And that's where you hope that the free market capitalism kicks in, by cutting those costs. All right, hold on. 20 after the hour. Aftyn's here early. We rarely have early guests, but we've got Aftyn in studio. We're going to talk to her about the 7th Congressional. We're going to talk about the big, beautiful bill coming up in just a moment. We're going to talk about a lot of other things as we continue the conversation on the Matt Murphy Show. It's 20 after the hour on Super Talk. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare is an affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medical approach that we don't see quite often in and around Middle Tennessee. It is a direct pay format. What they're doing, they're cutting out the insurance company. They're dealing with you and your doctor directly. This benefits you because you know that the insurance companies are not impacting how the doctor diagnoses you and what plan of success or plan of action is taken between you and your doctor. It's a sacrosanct relationship and certainly should remain that way. Secondarily, with the basic Smart Care plan, you know exactly what you're paying. $69 a month includes free office visits and diagnostic testing throughout the course of the year. That's the way it goes at Grace Point Healthcare. And right now, you can use your HSA for the Smart Care plan. Just ask them about that when you make the call that so many others have made to Grace Point Healthcare. 599-6868, 599-6868. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for USS, United Structural Systems. Friends, if you've got problems with your home, if you've got a structural foundation issue, you probably have noticed the signs, even if you don't know exactly what's going on. You need to get to USS jiffy quick. What you don't know certainly can hurt you, and you need peace of mind. At United Structural Systems, they're the company that give you just that. They have almost 30,000 satisfied residential customers over the course of their life, which is now going on 32 years in Middle Tennessee. When USS comes to your home, they figure it out. They figure it out quick, and at the lowest price point possible, they tell you how they can fix what ails your home, whether it's a foundation issue, a waterproofing issue, whatever it might be. Keeping homes stable and dry since 1994. Homeowners simply trust USS. Give them a call at 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or USSTN.com.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has wrapped up his second interview of Jeffrey Epstein's former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. We've got that story and more coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver. 24, almost 25 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Our good guest. Oh, no, you're not going to bumper me? Bumper me, Jackson. Come on. Big old bumper. Aftyn Behn in studio, discussing her run for the 7th Congressional District. Let's talk about the victory that you did have. From what I understand, the argument was made that the law passed by the Tennessee, it was a Tennessee General Assembly, right? Mm-hmm. And they passed a law that prevented discussion / aid / transport to another state for the purpose of getting an abortion.
That's right.
And your argument, and I think there was someone else that was there was another name that I heard, but you were involved in arguing in the courts that it was a violation of the second First Amendment. Talk to me about it. Not the Second Amendment, First Amendment. Talk to me.
Yeah, so this bill was called the abortion trafficking bill, but what it really was a vehicle to erode your First Amendment right. And so myself and an attorney, Rachel Welty, national attorney, filed a lawsuit against the state of Tennessee that was argued in the federal court, and a Sixth Circuit Republican appointed judge ruled in our favor last Friday.
Wow, fashion that the Republicans agree in the First Amendment. So the argument was that the law was far too vague in terms of its language and preventing individuals an ability to communicate other options that people might have if they don't have an option to terminate their pregnancy.
Right, and the case was hung up on the word recruit. And so what does recruit mean? Am I recruiting someone when I'm sharing a pamphlet at a desk? Am I recruiting when someone calls into my office and they want resources, right? And so, yeah, we owned Attorney General Scrimetti. Excited about that. But I think
Did you say you owned him?
Is that a millennial thing to say?
That's all good. It's all good.
But I just want to say
you're dark woke. We've established
Thank you. But I just want to say that you can't be small government and support speech bans. Like those two are not. I mean, they're contradictory.
No, I agree with that. And I'm a states' rights guy. And if the state of Tennessee wants to make certain decisions regarding where they draw the lines on these types of things, it's one thing. When you get into the business of attempting to prevent people from going to, I get
and
where you're coming
interstate commerce clause. I mean, that was the goal of this bill, is to test the waters in terms of how far can the state go to inhibit you from crossing state lines, inhibit you from using your First Amendment rights to free speech. So. We won.
I mean, and in a similar fashion, marijuana remains illegal in the state of Tennessee, but the state of Tennessee has no right to tell you what to do in Colorado when you go to Colorado or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the idea on the interstate commerce.
State power must have limits, Matt.
Do you think that the General Assembly will come back at this and try to take another bite at that apple?
I mean, when when you're brutally owned.
You think it was an owning?
I think it was a big own. I mean, I think what folks don't understand behind the scenes is that we organized around this legal strategy to ensure that we could bring it to the Sixth Circuit and that in the appeals that we would win. So,
when I have someone on the air and I know I have a reputation that I yell at people, but when I have someone on the air that I know we're going to disagree on a lot of fundamental things, I try to get to a place where we agree. Mm-hmm. And I want to believe that whether you're conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, whatever, wouldn't we like to live in a world where there's no need for abortions? Is that a fair statement to make?
Sure. Yeah.
And aren't we getting closer to that with modern science and modern technologies, giving women the right to or the opportunity to prevent abortions without the need for going through the early stages of a pregnancy and then having to make those types of decisions?
I just want the government off of my body and out of my bedroom, period. And I feel like in Tennessee, I mean, it is suffocating to be a young woman in this state. I don't know if you saw the woman that spoke out at a town hall in East Tennessee where she had been denied medical care because she was an unwed, pregnant person. Right.
And that was a religious decision on the part of that individual doctor, and she could go to any other number of doctors and receive. I mean, she was not denied medical care in terms of.
You don't think that was discriminatory?
I believe that based on one's religious beliefs, that you should be able to make a decision as to whether or not you facilitate those types of activities, particularly when they are readily available. And
isn't that against
there has to be a harm in terms of harming the individual when you can walk across the street and go to another doctor who is ready, willing, and able to provide that level of care. But isn't that against the
Hippocratic Oath?
No, not necessarily. Not from a religious standpoint, I wouldn't say so. I mean, that's just my perspective on it. But you said something interesting there and I don't want to get hung up on it because this is one of the more fundamental or core differences of opinion, and it goes through faith and it goes through government and what government oversight should be. But you don't think mamas shouldn't be able to kill babies, right? Like a 3-month-old baby. I'm just asking you. No. So where do you draw the line? So if a woman has not made a decision at 9 months, does the government have an opportunity to step in there? I mean, at what point do we say, hey,
I don't think
you had all of these opportunities.
The government. I mean, once again, I just don't think the government should be in a medical room with you and your provider and your family. It should be a decision between
So
all
a
of you.
woman should be able to make a decision to terminate a pregnancy at any point before birth.
I believe in bodily autonomy, and once again, I think it should be between the healthcare provider, the individual that's pregnant, and their family.
I mean, I feel like it's a pretty straightforward question. I mean, but I think the answer is, and I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. I'm not that at any point. So once a baby, once a baby is born, then we recognize that is a separate being from the mother, and so that being has rights. So the mother doesn't have a right to kill the baby, is what I'm saying. So at what point do we distinguish that? Is it at birth? Or is it at some point before birth?
Well, I think what folks don't understand is that any woman who is dealing with an adverse pregnancy and is, in the late stages of her pregnancy and has to terminate that is a child that she named. That is a child that she painted the room for. And so this kind of, I don't know where, this rumor started that, women are just taking babies out at, 7-8 months.
I'm not asking if it's happening. Mm-hmm. I'm asking, should it be legal to occur? I'm not asking if it happens, because this is what Democrats always do. They pivot to this is very rare, it never happens. What I'm asking you is, you're saying the government should not be able to intervene at any point during the pregnancy, and I'm asking if you really believe that. If a woman is 9 months pregnant and for whatever reason she goes off her rocker and she says, I want to terminate this pregnancy, and there's no underlying medical condition, should she be legally able to do that?
I don't know. Verdict's out. I don't know. I have to think about it.
That's fair.
I have to think about it.
It's fair. It's time for the news. Aftyn Behn and I will talk about immigration. We'll talk about immigration crackdowns. We'll talk about 7th Congressional District. We'll talk about a lot of other things in a moment, right after the news on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has wrapped up a second interview of Jeffrey Epstein's former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Emerging from a second day of talks between his client and the Deputy Attorney General, Ghislaine Maxwell's defense lawyer said the convicted sex trafficker didn't hold anything back.
She was asked maybe about 100 different people. She answered questions about everybody.
David Marcus said while there's been no request for clemency on his client's part and no promises made.
Of course, everybody knows that Miss Maxwell would welcome any relief.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Maxwell appealing her conviction on sex trafficking charges that have her serving a 20-year prison sentence. After a recent breakdown in Gaza ceasefire negotiations, President Trump said,
They pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was too bad. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die.
He further indicated Hamas leaders will, quote, be hunted down and that Israel will, quote, need to finish the job and, quote, get rid of the militant group. Maggie Ruley.
Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, he's accused Hamas of not acting in good faith, announcing that the U.S. negotiating team has departed Doha, where those talks were happening. He said they will now, quote, consider alternative options to bring the hostages home and try to create a more stable environment for the people of Gaza, although he did not specify what those alternative means might be.
Now, we do have new reporting that the Kingdom of Jordan has been approved to carry out airdrops of aid in the coming days in Gaza. The Tennessee tax-free holiday weekend underway runs through Sunday. This annual event allows shoppers to purchase qualifying items exempt from Tennessee sales tax, which can be as high as 9.75% when state and local rates are combined. Clothing, school supplies, and computers are eligible. The tax holiday applies to both in-store and online purchases. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, that South Loop downtown going eastbound is really heavy before you get to 65. And then going northbound on 65 to get to that South Loop, you've got the regular brake tapping. Same thing for northbound 65 up to the 24 junction there, just on the north leg of the loop. Eastbound 440. Regular stop-and-go traffic over to 24. That's from 65 over to 24. And it looks like we have a crash still in the cleanup stages. Going to be 65 northbound off-ramp to I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Cover Nash. Shane Ring and Cover Nash have a simple message for you and your family, and that is this. If you're unsure whether you're getting maximum value out of your insurance company, call Shane and allow him to do a reassessment on your insurance for you. Odds are you're not getting the maximum value that you could. Shane has a deal for you. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a math test, consider this. At Cover Nash, they have a nationwide PPO plan that gives you the freedom to choose your doctor anywhere in the United States of America without all the headaches. It's a $250 deductible, flat copays after the deductible of just $50 for any doctor visit, and outpatient surgery for just $250 in copay, too. Ask Shane about this when you make the call that so many others have made to Cover Nash. Friends, he is your concierge. He's your friend in the insurance bit. He's not trying to sell you any particular insurance plan. He is attempting to make sure that you have the best plan available to you in Tennessee right now. CoverNash.com. That's CoverNash.com or 615-465-0023, 465-0023. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Premier Generators. In the state of Tennessee, we live in that four-season territory where you never know what you're going to get, whether it's wild storms that knock out the power or ice and snow that might knock out the power, whatever it might be. When the power's out, it sucks. Friends, Premier Generators and the Premier Generac generator system. It is your go-to source for all things power when the electricity goes off. And if you don't have it, you know you need it. Your home generator system could be a phone call away. If you work from home, if you've got family members that need electricity, perhaps it's an oxygen-related event, you don't need to compromise with Mother Nature anymore. Consider owning a home generator from Premier Generac Generators, your number one certified Generac generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. They have a 10-year warranty that they're offering right now, a free consultation. Let's get on board at 855-POWER-IS-ON. That's 855-797-4800. 4766. Once again, 855-797-4766 for our friends at Premier Generators, online at premiergenerators.com. All righty. We've got one more robust segment with our good friend Aftyn Behn. And I think Aftyn is a good person. I disagree with her on a lot of fronts, but I think it's important that we listen to what she's got to say. She's running for the 7th Congressional District, and we've been discussing a variety of issues. I want to ask you this. I mean, you and I talk. I know that you have disagreements with the manner in which the Trump administration has exercised their duty regarding immigration, specifically illegal immigration.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it.
Yep.
Do you think that you went too far in your reaction to what was happening in Nashville?
So, and I know a lot of your listeners are probably still on X calling for my arrest, but I wanted to provide a precursor to that moment. So I was out in that community. I have a Hispanic part of my district in Madison, where our close friend Kathy lived. Yeah, and I've been knocking doors, and the constituents in that area had said the biggest concern that they face is racial profiling, and two, that they don't feel like their elected officials are stepping up. And so I took that as a mandate, and I was defending my constituents. We were pulled over by Highway Patrol when the incident happened. ICE could have been going on and doing their due diligence and their duty. So I didn't. I mean, for me, I was standing up for my constituents. Bottom line.
You understand. I mean, as Tom Homan has said that, and you don't like Tom Homan. I get it. That's fine. But there's a difference between having a difference of opinion and getting in the way of the exercise of their duty.
Which I wasn't. We were pulled over. We weren't. The ICE agents that were in front of us could have left at any moment in time. We were not. There was no there there. There's no there there.
Do you recognize that the federal authorities? I mean, tell me generally what you think should happen. If you were in Congress, you will get an opportunity to vote on these things in the 7th Congressional District. You'll get to vote on whether or not we should fund immigration and customs enforcement at all. There are some members of Congress, mostly Democrats. I don't think there are any Republicans that have called for an elimination. But I mean, would you suggest that there's no need for ICE? Would you call for an elimination?
I think it's a tool of unchecked federal power right now with immense broad authority and limited oversight. And that's a big concern for me as a government watchdog.
I mean, when you say unlimited oversight, I mean, the law is the oversight.
I mean, the law is the oversight, but they're getting, billions of dollars in this big, ugly bill to wreak havoc on communities. I mean, I think I've talked to a few constituents of mine who voted for Trump, and, obviously we have disagreements when it comes to immigration, but I think the violation of due process in a lot of these situations, of which I've seen in Madison, in my district, and in Nashville.
Tell me about the violations of due process that you've seen.
I mean, they're not able to access attorneys, when they're scooped up.
Tell me the process that is due an illegal alien who has illegally entered the United States of America. Walk me through what you think that process is.
Can you say the question again?
So what is their due process? What should they expect? They came into the country, did not use regular order, however you want to characterize it, undocumented. So, I mean, let's start there. Should there be rules to get into America?
Yeah, I think there should be rules for any.
So regardless of what you think those rules should be, and I'm sure we could talk about that.
And you and I both believe that there should be an overhaul of the federal immigration system.
Certainly.
I mean.
But, all right, there should be rules to get into America. Then tell me, Aftyn, what you do to the people that violate the rules.
I mean, the problem is so what I witnessed in Madison, I saw someone pulled over. Granted, they were being racially profiled by the Highway Patrol. They were pulled over. Who knows if they had the right documents?
How do you know that they were being racially profiled? The Highway Patrol says that they were not racially profiled, that they pulled over
well, that's other reporting says not. So
you just disagree with the Highway Patrol?
With regard to these incidents in May, yes.
Okay, fine.
Okay. I witnessed, and so, in that incident, that individual who may be here legally, right, they may have forgotten a piece of paper at work, but they're taken and they're thrown into this spiraling process, not given access to attorneys, not being able to phone their families to tell what happened, right? And then they're sent off into these camps across, the country lines. I mean, it doesn't. I've heard specific incidents of when and where this happened. And so for me, it's just all about, I think a lot of our immigrant neighbors are not getting due process in this country. And I think that every person in the U.S. is entitled to due process under the U.S. Constitution.
Right. And immigration processes are different than a criminal process, right? And an immigration court is different than
because
a criminal court.
Because when they enter, it's a civil misdemeanor, right?
Right. And it's against the law. And you can be deported for violating the rules. Back to my original question. If you believe there should be rules for how you enter America, what should you do to the people who violate the rules?
I think the system needs an overhaul and that we need to have a conversation about it.
What would that...
Yeah.
I feel like it's simple. We agree that there should be rules to get here. If someone violates the rules in the way that they come, what should you do to that person?
It depends on the circumstance.
Should you let them stay or should you send them home?
I think it depends on the circumstance. I mean, these are individuals that some of these people...
Then what do the rules matter? You said that there should be rules to get into America. And if you're saying that under certain circumstances you can violate the rules and you can stay, then why do you have rules to begin with?
I mean, these individuals come over, and a lot of them are trying to do the right thing. They are trying to show up at their immigration appointments. They are trying to seek asylum because they are political refugees from these countries. They are trying to do the right thing.
There is an asylum process, and in no stage of that process does it say just come in and deal with asylum on the back end. That isn't how asylum works. There are rules for asylum.
There's a process once you enter the country to enter the asylum process.
And those that are in the midst of the asylum process are not being deported right now, Aftyn. What about the criminal people that were taken off the street in Nashville? Do you agree with those people being taken off the street?
I agree that violent offenders should be taken off the streets.
And removed to their countries of origin?
Any person of any color.
Okay, so, I mean, regardless of race, ethnicity, country of origin, you're happy that ICE was removing criminal elements off the streets of your district that had violated human beings' rights here in America. You're happy for that? I mean, over half of the people, as documented by immigration, I mean, you can either believe them or not, but according to the Tennessee Highway Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, over half of the people that were taken off the streets during that sting had other criminal violations in addition to not coming into the country with the proper paperwork. So those are people that are violating the rights of the same individuals that you want to protect. And my argument has been all along that these underserved communities where there are undocumented or illegal aliens in this country, they're having their rights violated en masse because they don't feel like they can go to the authorities and report these people that are criminals in their midst. And many of those criminals are being currently taken off the street by the very organizations that you condemn.
I don't condemn them. I just want them to be, I want more oversight and accountability and transparency into their processes.
Isn't that the job of Congress?
Why are they masked?
Isn't that the job of Congress? I disagree with the masking. Isn't that the job of Congress?
Yeah.
But to answer your question, they're being masked because people are trying to dox them and are intentionally attempting to commit acts of violence against individuals.
I mean, anyone that has criticisms of big government should fear an unchecked federal authority like ICE that are masking their agents.
The check is the rule of law, Aftyn. The check is what they, I mean, the rule of law.
Well, let's take Tennessee. I mean, we pass laws all the time. The one that I just won, right? We pass laws all the time that are deemed illegal in the courts.
Right. And
it
so
is subjective.
If you believe that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is violating the law here in the state of Tennessee, take them to court.
Well, our law isn't. Our law isn't sympathetic to that. So,
or run for the 7th Congressional District and attempt to change the laws that way. What you're doing is a good way of accomplishing your task.
And I had a lot of, a lot of your listeners were upset with what happened, but this is my generic response that I've said again and again and again is that immigrants are not the reason your grocery prices are high. I'm sorry you're struggling. I'm sorry
Joe
you're upset.
Biden is the reason our grocery prices are high.
How long is the Joe Biden stick going to happen?
It's not a shtick, Aftyn.
Are we going to be blaming him in 10 years?
Do you deny that inflation went up astronomically during the Biden administration?
I think inflation's high now.
Do you deny
grocery prices are high now?
Yeah, because of the Biden administration. It's only been 6 months. Give him a chance. Give our man a chance.
Give our man a chance.
He'll be all right. So we agree, and back to the place where we can agree. We agree that there should be rules as to how
There
one
needs to be a
comes in,
process.
right?
There needs to be a process.
And you agree that those who violate the process, I mean, I'm trying to get to the point where we agree that if you violate the rules, we can. I mean, and I understand
But
your
imagine
argument.
those rules. But imagine those rules are. You have to show up in X city. You're working 3 jobs. I mean, there's so much circumstantial.
Individuals who were born in a different country do not have a human right to come to America. Do you not agree with that? There is no human right to. Well, tell me how I'm wrong.
I mean, that's a subjective thing to say. I mean, I just think that, like, yes, there should be a process. There should be a process.
To disagree with me on that front is to suggest that we should not have control over our own borders.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
What I said
there
is
should be a process.
You do not have a human right to come to the United States of America just because you want to.
Is that not free? I mean, I'm sorry, but like the free market doesn't stop at the borders.
There is. Tell me the country that allows anyone for any reason that wants to come into their country to allow them into that country.
No, we need a process, and we need comprehensive federal immigration reform.
So there's no inherent human right for foreigners to come into the United States of America, is my point.
I don't think that's in our Constitution, no.
Right. So we can say no immigration if we wanted to, as a nation. Would you agree that if we decided collectively, I'm not suggesting we would, but if we decided collectively as a nation, we're not gonna have immigrants anymore.
I wouldn't agree with that, but
right. But if we decided that, we're not violating some sort of human right that people have to come.
I don't think there's an international right to travel, is there?
I would suggest no.
If it was,
that's why we have immigration law.
If it was mandated by the UN, people wouldn't believe that anyway. So,
all right. I want this to be the beginning of many very friendly and robust debates.
And I'm excited because I want to dig in because this is the first of many, as you just said.
I certainly hope so. And tell me or tell the listening audience how they can find out more about your campaign. I know that they can go to GinoBolso.com. Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself? You should be, actually. I don't know who had anything to do with that.
I love organizing. I love scheming.
Tell everybody what Matt Murphy's referring to.
So I bought the domain name www.ginobolso.com. Representative Bolso, it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games. And it redirects to my congressional website.
So you're like, okay, that's pretty fun. That's pretty good. So if you go to GinoBolso.com, you get to Aftyn Behn's website.
That's right. Wait, but can we talk about the communist running in 7th that stole your name?
Yeah, I got like 2 minutes, but we can do it. Yeah, go.
Okay. So basically, I learned last week.
I call you the cutest little communist in Tennessee.
So
you want a T-shirt? Yeah,
so tender, so tender, Matt. Yeah. And we found out that someone registered under the Communist Party as the cutest communist in Tennessee to run in the 7th Congressional District. So Richard Grayson, if you are listening.
Richard, I'm suing you for intellectual property infringement. That is no good. So there's an actual communist running?
Yeah.
He's flanking you.
I know.
Don't let that happen.
No, I can't. Not on this one.
No, I'll sue him for you.
Thank you.
And we're not having that. We're not going to allow that. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being willing to talk to us. And we look forward to the next one.
Can't wait.
Representative Aftyn Behn will be back in a moment, 54 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Defend Systems. Regardless of your political stripes, we were just talking to Aftyn there for a minute, regardless of where you are politically, you need to know this, that if you're a business owner, you need to protect your employees. It's a dangerous world. There's a lot of things to blame as to how the world is getting dangerous, but one thing's for sure, Defend Systems can help. They are a life safety and security consultation firm based right here in Middle Tennessee. They can help your workplace with regard to workplace violence, site surveys and threat assessment, security improvement consultation, emergency and intruder action plans, all designed for your facility. So if you're a business owner, if you're a decision maker at a church or a school, get Brink Fiddler on your team. We don't want to scare you and make you think that this is going to happen to you, because the odds are it won't, but the odds are not zero. And that is why hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained with Defense Systems. 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or defensesystems.com.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. National Weather Service says we have broken the 100-degree mark As far as the heat index goes, the actual temperature outside is 93 right now in Nashville. And I don't see much of a chance for any of those relieving showers and thunderstorms that pop up from time to time. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. President Trump's in Scotland, and he was asked about the second day of Justice Department officials interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned former girlfriend of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
And then
You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton.
Maxwell's lawyer stated she answered all questions asked by the Department of Justice, including questions about 100 different people connected to the Epstein case, adding that she didn't hold anything back. Right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says some community advocates are pushing back on President Trump's new executive order to combat homelessness that encourages local governments to revive a process to place people with mental health issues in treatment facilities without their consent.
That just adds to the pressure of what people already have to go through and experience. I believe that housing is health care, and I'm very concerned that this executive order prioritizes removal over restoration of fellow humans.
Now, Channel 4 says the Metro Office of Homelessness says it's reviewing the executive order, but argues Housing First allows social workers to connect people with the support they require. And the so-called doomsday mother, Lori Daybell, who was convicted of killing her children in Idaho, is now facing sentencing in Arizona in 2 separate cases. Daybell proclaimed apocalyptic views.
In Arizona, Lori Daybell was convicted in April of conspiracy to commit murder for the death of her former husband, Charles Vallow. Then in June, a jury found her guilty of conspiracy to commit murder in the attempted shooting of her niece's ex-boyfriend. In victim impact statements on Friday, Larry Woodcock, the grandfather of Daybell's murdered son, sang,
"May God have mercy on your soul, because that's the only thing in life. And don't count on God where you're going."
Daybell's Arizona sentence is being added to her life sentence in Idaho for killing her 2 children as well as her 5th husband's ex-wife. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Now, the CDC and FDA are investigating a multi-state salmonella outbreak linked to Deep brand frozen sprouted mung beans and frozen sprouted mat beans. Cheetac LLC Group recalled the beans on July 16th. Since then, 11 people in 10 states, including Tennessee, have been infected with this same salmonella strain. The recalled products are sold in 16-ounce packages with specific lot codes. Consumers advised not to eat, sell, or serve those recalled beans. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now, the slowest way home is going to be eastbound to South Loop over to 65 and then northbound 65 to the South Loop. I mean, cars are crawling. Just picked up a crash in Jolton. This is going to be 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike. And then an earlier crash, 65 northbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. And then speaking of northbound 65 up to the South Loop, we do have the off-ramp partially blocked, 65 northbound off-ramp to go to I-440. And then in Laverne, a crash reported 24 eastbound near Waldron Road. And another crash in Smyrna, left 2 lanes blocked, 24 westbound near Sam Ridley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All righty, then. It is just after 4 o'clock. We're about to enter the Frijay zone in just moments from now. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm pleased you've decided to join us, whatever time you're able to give us. We're certainly appreciative of it. We're an hour down and 3 to go, and we're going to call it a weekend after that. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. Jackson Williams controlling the experience, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. I feel a little odd, gents, because normally we get a little chance to interact, but I had Aftyn right on right at the top of the hour. It was the time that she could do it. And I wanted to get her in here so that she could present herself before the voters of the 7th Congressional District. Gentlemen, before we have Jay on with us, any thoughts on that conversation? Or what do you think, guys? Good for y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, it was a good conversation.
I thought so, too, Ken.
Worthwhile.
I thought it was funny what she did with Gino Bolso.
Listen. Regardless of your politics, and regardless of how crazy you think Aftyn is or how mean-spirited you think that's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny. And I got to get Gino on to get his reaction to it.
He probably finds it funny, too.
I guarantee you he thinks it's hilarious. Now, he's probably going to want that website back at some point. Because the thought process, and the thought behind it, kid, what makes it funny to me is when the announcement was made that Congressman Mark Green was stepping down, one of the names that we heard over and over again was Gino Bolso.
Yes, over and over.
As a possible candidate. Now, I still hear that he's considering it, thinking about it. Maybe, he's got until mid-August to decide to run. But so she saw that his name was available, and so she picked up GinoBolso.com. So now you go to GinoBolso.com, and you get to Aftyn Behn's website, right. Which is just funny. Which would be akin to
All's fair in love and politics.
It would be like me getting DanMandis.com and directing it to a picture of my ugly mug there. So anyway, it was a good conversation. Look, I try to be nicer, and people give me criticism for being nicer. I get mean. People get mad at me for throwing Heidi Campbell out of the studio. So one way or the other.
I thought it was a good conversation, man. And we need to have conversations like that. I think you were able to ask your questions, and I thought you did it in a very respectful way.
Thank you, Ken.
And she answered.
It certainly helps that Aftyn is a very likable person and that she doesn't seem to take any of this personally. And that is a good quality to have if you're going to be in politics, especially if you're going to have to answer questions from, I don't know, somebody like me. So There you go. With that in mind, speaking of questions and answers, friends, have you gotten your questions here? Because Frijay is upon us. And as Frijay is approaching, it's time to get all of those legal questions on the table. So our man, Jay St. Clair, he is my great friend, my best friend. He is a good Tennessee man, born and raised. He is a guy that is such a legal mind, he can answer any question at the snap of his fingers. And friends, we've got him. It's time for Frijay.
Good morning, Americans. It's Frijay.
That's right, ladies and germs, boys and girls. It's time to welcome up to the Zoom machine on the social media front. If you're watching on Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, you can see him there. For the rest of you, you can hear him on these radio stations. During the 4 o'clock hour, his name is Jay St. Clair. Jay, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
You know, man, if I were any better, I'd be my Secretary of Homeland Security. She's sitting about 4 feet from me right now next to an open window. We get a little rain shower here.
Uh-huh.
And she's just as happy as a bug in a rug.
Monitoring the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. She guards me a lot.
You have told me that Olivia, she is not a big fan of squirrels. Kind of anti-squirrel.
Well, yeah. And possums.
And possums. Mrs. Beasley, I've noticed, Mrs. Beasley's not a fan of just basically any critter in the backyard. But Mrs. Beasley seems to take much greater exception with birds.
You know, Olivia will chase birds too,
Yeah.
which I've never heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, but Beasley will bark at them when they're in the trees. I mean, she just, generally speaking, gets very angry about birds.
Yeah, this means war. As Bugs Bunny would say, of course, this means war.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Well, it's good to talk to you, my friend. Good to have you on, as always. Get those questions and comments in here at 615-737-9986. Jay, since we talked last, and I feel like I might be leading the witness just a little bit with the way I asked this question, especially considering the way that you answered it last week. But judge down in Florida said, no, you know what? I'm not going to give you access to these grand jury testimonies. Were you surprised at all that the judge decided in the way that they did?
No, not at all, man. There is just such a very strong presumption of confidentiality for grand jury proceedings. And it's for the reasons we talked about. It's to protect the innocent.
Mm-hmm.
There is no filter about anything that is said in front of the grand jury. No filters, no judge there. Everything comes in. Hearsay, innuendo, surmise, dreams. And so, no, that doesn't surprise me at all, man.
Well, and it feels to me like, and I know this is kind of more my arena than yours, but it feels like the Trump administration has recognized how important some of this is to certain segments of his base, because they've changed direction since you and I talked last. I mean, they're
well, that's right.
I mean, there's no question that they're like, all right, we're going to get the Department of Justice on it. We're going to talk to this Maxwell lady. We're going to get her on the record, at least in terms of what she knows and what she doesn't know. And we're going to come out with some sort of information that might give the people a little more solace that there aren't lawbreakers that are getting away with it. You know?
No, I think that's right. They're certainly trying to give the impression that they're being as transparent as they can be, that they're trying to get as much information to the public as they can. They're giving that appearance. You know, whether the substance will change or not, only time will tell.
Have you looked at, and sometimes Jay and I talk about these things beforehand, and sometimes we don't get a chance to, and I've not asked you about this, and there's no shame in saying you haven't, but because it's a little in the weeds, but this Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, I find it very intriguing, some of the things that she's discovered regarding, and it's not really what is against the law that she's that she's discovering. You're
talking about Russiagate, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep. 100%. Right. It's kind of what she's discovering that maybe kind of skirts around the edges, and it really isn't. I don't know that she's uncovered anything that I can point to and say, ooh, they broke the law. They broke the law, but it all looks so unsavory.
No, it does. But I agree with you. I haven't heard or read anything that even hints of being criminal. Well, maybe some testimony to Congress. but they would be process kind of things like that. But yeah, it's I mean, what they're saying is that after Trump won the election, I think that most of what they're finding out about is after the election, it's after he won.
Right.
Then they try to delegitimize it, right? And then there was that 2 years about Russia.
Well, and the frustration that many of us on, for those of us on the political right, be you libertarians or conservatives, is that some are immediately going to treason. And I have to caution because, I mean, there's our specific definitions or a specific definition as to what constitutes treason in the Constitution.
Right.
And I believe our founding fathers wanted to make it really clear that disagreeing with the government or even being underhanded
That's right.
is not treason.
If trying to put your political opponent in the worst light possible is treason, we better build a lot more prisons.
But what they did do, and what's frustrating, is that I don't think they ever saw Hillary losing coming.
Yep.
And when it happened, at very least, they wanted some real good excuses as to why it happened. And at worst, if we think the worst of them, they wanted to kind of screw up the incoming president. And this is the way that they seem to have done it. I'm just glad that the truth's coming out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's right. And, it's hard to keep secrets. I mean, I guess that's one of those Epstein things, six in so many people's crawl, because they think there's a lot of secrets being kept.
Mm-hmm.
That is two-tier justice, right?
Right.
I'm kind of wondering about why people are so worked up about this, because it's not big on my radar. But I get it. It's this whole idea of two-tier justice, and that there's a lot of very powerful, wealthy people who did bad things and they're getting away with it.
Right. That is certainly the perception.
That's what bothers people, and I totally get that.
Well,
it's kind of like Alabama. It's kind of like Alabama football, really.
Well, by all means, Jay, do tell us more. You can get away with that up here. I wouldn't have let you say that in Birmingham.
I wouldn't say it in Birmingham.
That's true. That's true. It
I
is.
mean, the NIL thing has totally screwed up Bama's monopoly, right? Because now everybody can pay players.
Oh, well, that's right. Hey, Jay, would you do me a favor and explain to Ken Weaver how good his Oklahoma Sooners are going to do this year? He gets mad at me when I tell him that. I mean, he's a faithful fan of Boomer Sooner.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's good.
And I think they're going to do great this year.
I got nothing. You know me. I am at best a very casual college football fan.
Well, you've done your hard work. Me
too, brother Jay.
I mean, Jay, you climbed the fence at one point, didn't you, with your son?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. It was in 1998, the championship year. It was the Florida game. And it came down to the last second. And Chuck said, Dad, if they score here, I'm going on the field. I said, knock yourself out, Chuck.
Because you were just going to sit back. You were just going to sit back.
No. Because let's see, 98, I was, 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a 6-foot chain link fence you have to go. and I think Tennessee kicked the winning. It was either Florida missed a field goal at the end of the game or Tennessee. I can't remember which. And then the stands just flooded. I mean, 90,000 people went on the field. And so Chuck took it off, and I said, have at it. About 2 or 3 minutes later, I couldn't stand it. And so I went down there. It took everything I could to hike my leg up over that 6-foot chain link fence, but I made it. And I didn't get on ESPN by falling down or doing something like that.
That's good.
Oh yeah, no, I've spent a lot of time in Neyland Stadium.
That was Tennessee's Jeff Hall kicked a 41-yard field goal in overtime.
Okay, it was in overtime. Yeah, I remember. Okay, and so that won the game in overtime.
Yep.
41-yarder.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll never forget it. It was down in the horseshoe, and we had pretty good seats. We were about towards the middle of the field, and it was great.
Attendance that day, 107,653.
A lot of buddies. Jay.
Yeah, well, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, Ken, but being at that football game was not.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to get to questions. I got a bevy of them coming in through the super text line and a few of them coming in on the phone lines as well. Questions for Jay on Frijay, any legal matter. He is willing to consider it, and he will offer you an answer. What do you like to say, Jay? You're
often wrong, but never in doubt.
There you go. And we like to tell you that free legal advice is worth
exactly what you pay for it.
More Frijay coming up in just a moment on Super Talk. I absolutely love the Glock store, and I love telling you why I love the Glock store, and I love encouraging those of you who have never been to get out to the Glock store, and you'll see the difference. It's a beautiful showroom. The retail space is second to none. They'll even take you on a tour of the manufacturing side of things, the side that you don't normally see. They have an incredible amount of manufacturing. As a matter of fact, a lot of what they sell on the showroom floor on the retail side, they make on site, and they ship all over the country, but you can find it right here in our hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, they are Glock aficionados, not just Glock sellers or Glock experts, but they love Glocks. They love talking about them. They love talking to you about performance accessories and performance parts. You never feel rushed. You can ask as many questions as you like. They have more Glocks in stock than any place else I've ever seen in my life, and it's all right here in our fair city, the Music City. Just a few of the reasons that I encourage you to go out to the Glock store. They're my favorite gun shop, and they will be yours as well. Visit them once, and you'll never go to another store. I'm telling you, the Glock store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, glockstore.com, or on the road, Airlane Drive in Nashville.
Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer says she gave the Department of Justice information on about 100 different people in their meeting today. This story and more at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
100 different people. Wow.
That's what that old boy says.
Well, that's her attorney. Let's wait to see what the interviewer has to say about information received from the interviewee. I've been around one of those. I don't guess that would classify as a deposition. Jay, is there an official? Is there interviews aren't depositions, right? I mean, does a deposition have a specific legal? Is it a term of art?
It is a term of art. It is absolutely a term of art, man. And the difference is that both sides are represented, and there's a court reporter, and the witness is placed under oath.
Right, and I know from personal experience that you are expected to tell the truth. I had some really great coaching before my deposition.
That's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Listen, and I'll just go pull back the curtain. Jay taught me this. And there's nothing underhanded about it. But Jay said, if you get asked a question, and I'll never forget this, Jay, it was such a brilliant thing you said to me. Said, if you get asked a question, and you aren't sure, because Matt, there's no fault. I mean, there's no shame in not being able to remember something. And you said to me, you said, this is what you tell. If you're not sure, you just say, as I sit here today, I can't remember.
Perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. See, because what that does is what they're trying to do is put your feet in concrete. They want to know what you are going to say when the case goes to trial.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, well, as I sit here today, I can't recall. 6 months later, we're at trial and you recall. And they said, well, wait a minute, in your deposition, you said you didn't recall. Sir, I said, as I sit here today, I don't recall. Later, I recall. That's the way the memory works.
That's right.
It came to me later.
That's right.
I'm going to remember that next time my wife calls me onto the carpet.
It's a good one.
No, honey, as I sit here today, I don't know.
As I sit here today, I don't know why we stayed after golf and did all that drinking. I don't know.
And it just lets a lot of the air out of it. Well, as I sit here today.
I love it. I love it. One of these
Ken, that's why you want young doctors and old lawyers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
we know all the tricks.
Ken, I'll tell you this. Jay was not my representative in the case. He was representing another party in the case, but he was in there representing his party. And Jay,
did you see where your lawyer is running for attorney general in Alabama?
I did. I know. And I'm excited for him, Jay Mitchell. But Kid, I'll tell you this quick story because Jay and I have been friends for over 2 decades, right? And the goober attorney that was questioning me, if you've never been in a deposition, it's intimidating.
I bet.
But Jay knows there was a moment when I started having fun, and Jay asked me about it later on. He said, I feel like at some point you started having fun, and I said, that's true, Jay. And he goes, well, what was it? And I said, I realized he wasn't smarter than me.
Right. Yep.
I mean, that's the honest truth. But
that's exactly it. Right.
And he was just peppering me with, well, what about this text message? He was like, let's go over page 387 of your texts. And he's like going over it. And legitimately, he's like, well, who did you say this to? And I was like, well, I can't remember. He's like, well, who did you say this to? And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, you don't remember whose telephone number this is? And I looked at it. And I said, am I allowed to ask someone else in the room a question? And they said, yes. And I said, hey, Jay. And he said, and Jay's reading along. And Jay said, yeah. And I said, is your telephone number blah, blah, blah? And he goes, yep. And I said, sir, that's Jay St. Clair's telephone number. And he just looks at me and looks at Jay like we were setting him up. I was like, no, I just couldn't remember. Then I realized, oh, that's Jay. It was awesome.
And you guys were sitting right there.
Right next to one another. And yeah.
Absolutely. No, it was funny.
All right. Roger and Anthony and Michael, going to get to you. Got the news coming up, plus plenty of questions coming in. I promise I will just pepper Jay with some of these questions in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. National Weather Service says we're still at 100 degrees as far as the heat index is concerned. Actual temperature is 93. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Jeffrey Epstein, co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, says she gave Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche information on about 100 different people in their meeting today. Meanwhile, President Trump was asked about it. He's in Scotland.
Really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it.
Blanche announced the Department of Justice will share additional information about what was learned, quote, at the appropriate time. The so-called doomsday mother, Lori Daybell, who was convicted of killing her children and fifth husband's wife in Idaho, has now been sentenced in Arizona for 2 more life terms for conspiracy to commit murder in that state. Daybell has proclaimed apocalyptic views. Here's Alex Stone.
Before the Arizona judge gave Lori Daybell 2 more life sentences on top of the life terms she already has in Idaho, she told the judge all of the victims that she's been convicted of killing in both states are happy and enjoying the afterlife.
Heaven is a very busy and happy place where everyone is engaged in projects that they love to do.
The judge saying she will never get out of prison.
It will take an act of God for you to go free.
Alex Stone, EBC News.
Terrible story out of Louisiana today. A mother's worst nightmare after a deadly fire.
It was before sunrise Thursday in Raceland, Louisiana, about 50 miles outside New Orleans.
I heard windows starting to break and like they were trying to get to their children.
Joey Woodward saw his neighbor's house in flames.
Immediately, obviously, called 911. They just couldn't get here quick enough.
The 46-year-old woman who lives there managed to escape, but her 4 children, ranging in age from 6 to 20, could not. All 4 died at the scene. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, let's start with I-24. Right now we got crash in Jolton. The right lane is blocked 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike. Then in Smyrna, 24 westbound near Sam Ridley Parkway. I-440 eastbound at 65. Police reporting a crash there. And then 65 northbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. TDOT says there's an earlier crash there, a crash still being cleaned up there. And in Berry Hill, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp, 65 northbound to I-440. And in Rivergate, a crash on the right shoulder, 65 southbound near Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. So you go to the grocery store and you want, you up your food game. You order that nice piece of salmon from the butcher shop or that nice piece of, a steak or whatnot. And then you go home and you put these seasonings or spices that have been in the back of your cupboard for years that you got from the discount grocery store on them. I mean, what in the world are you thinking? Might I recommend you go to Savory Spice and get a better brand, a better quality of spices. You don't have to pay an arm and a leg to do it. These are quality spices and seasonings. They've got all manner of types of seasonings. I mean, especially if you're grilling, boy, oh boy, do they have some rubs and things that you need to check out. If you're the grill master in your home, get to Savory Spice. If you love different types of exotic flavors and exotic foods, get to Savory Spice. If you simply want to up that food game, you can do so at Savory Spice. If you don't know your way around the kitchen and you want to, Savory Spice. Holly and David are good people. They're fine folks, and I love supporting local businesses like Savory Spice. Right in the heart of Franklin, just off the town square. Go by and see them and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Friends, let's talk for a moment about your property. Do you have property and are you looking to build? Maybe you're trying to benefit the property with some enhancements that's going to improve the value, or you're just looking for a man cave or a she shed. Whatever your approach, you need to call Stoltz Co. first. Stoltz Co. That's an incredible company. They do post-frame buildings. They do pole barns. They do equestrian spaces. They do garage spaces. And, of course, they do barn dominiums. This is a less expensive way to build a beautiful home for you and your family on your property. You need to see them to understand. You need to see them to believe what they can accomplish at Stoltz Co. And you do that by going online, stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO.com. Just see it. To believe it. A home to retire in, or perhaps you're looking for a mother-in-law or a father-in-law location. If you've got elderly folks, if you're owning land and you're just looking for some way to improve that property, Stoltz Co. can get it done for you. Either turnkey service or you can be involved every step of the way. 615-622-5992 is the number. 622-5992 or stoltzco.com. Yes, indeed. Many of you are asking the same question, and that is, as I sit here today, I can't remember, that might work in a court of law or during a deposition, but does it work on a spouse?
It won't work on mine.
Well,
I know that.
I was about to say, it depends on the spouse, and it is doubtful. It is doubtful.
But then again, nothing venture, nothing gain.
That's true. That's true. How many beers do you have last night, Ken?
As I sit here right now,
I don't remember.
what was the question?
I don't remember.
Let's talk to Roger. He's got a question for Jay. Roger, you're up with Jay St. Clair on Frijay. Hey, Roger, man. All right, Roger, I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll try to give you a second crack at it. Maybe I was a little too quick to the draw there for you, Roger, but you get in line, get on board. Anthony is next up with a question for Jay on Frijay. Hey, Anthony.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
So I got a question. I got this situation that's going on. I had this old case that they were trying to put felony charges on me. I paid for a lawyer. The lawyer got it dropped down to misdemeanor charges. And then it was continuing to go on. I moved, and I wasn't able to make it to the court case. My lawyer told me that it wasn't a problem. He had me fill out the legal paperwork so he could stand in for me. And then come to find out I have a warrant for failure to appear. And the warrant has been there for years now. I've been worried about going back to that state to, visit my family, to, work. Right. I don't want to just so happen to get pulled over, thrown in jail for I'm just kind of wondering
what's your question? Anthony, tell me your question.
what do I do about getting this warrant to go away? Or
I would get that worked out. This is are you living in Tennessee now?
Yes, sir.
And this is in another state?
Yes, sir.
How far is it a neighboring state or is it far off?
Florida.
It's Florida.
Florida.
Okay.
You know, I'll give you a couple options. One option is I would call the judge's office. Let's start there. The judge probably isn't going to talk to him, but maybe get his staff. I just call him and tell him what happened, and say that look, my lawyer said I didn't have to be there, but now I found out later that there's a warrant issued for my arrest. What do I need to do? I want to get this cleared up. What do I need to do that? That's what I would do. That's door number one. Door number two is to hire a lawyer in Florida to handle this for you, and that'll cost you, a couple $1,000 probably. But so it just depends on how much it's worth it to you, Anthony, to get this cleared up. I would get it cleared up. It may
that's
not.
what I want to do.
Yeah, it may not ever be an issue. It may not ever be an issue, but yeah, you could be driving along someday and get pulled over for speeding or whatever, and they'll take you to jail.
Yeah.
So I would call the judge's office or the court or the court clerk.
Okay. I was calling around to a couple lawyers in Florida, and I had asked them about that, and they told me that I would make the judges more mad if I tried to do that.
Who told you that?
It was a separate lawyer's office that I was trying to get information from, and we were just having a conversation.
What were the crimes, Anthony? What did they originally charge you with, and what was it reduced to?
So they originally tried to charge me with trespassing, aggravated fighting arrest. They tried to say that I tried to run over a police officer. And all of this was false, which is why it easily got dropped down to a misdemeanor.
What was I don't mean to horn in here, but
you've never been convicted, right? The case never came to an end, right, Anthony?
No, sir.
Do you still have any paperwork associated with this? Do you know where it was pending?
I have all the original paperwork.
What I would do, rather than calling judge's office, I would call the prosecutor's office. Find out who the prosecutor is. It's probably going to be a district attorney in one of the counties down there. And I would just call them. How long ago did this happen?
At this point, it's been about I want to say about 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years? I would call the prosecutor, and just tell them the truth, and tell them that you want to get this cleared up, and you just want to know what do you need to do to get it cleared up. Either that or hire a lawyer and get him to make the call for it. Or he may tell you, get somebody that practices in that area all the time, and he can tell you the way that they handle that in that court. Different courts handle those kind of situations different.
Absolutely.
Anthony, I wish you the best of luck. Let us know how it goes, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Anthony, for the call. Jay, is it fair to say that the odds are at some point they're going to expect him to be down there?
Well, they've let it go for 5 or 6 years, Matt, and that's why I was asking what the crimes were. Although it was originally a violent crime, but I don't think they're going to go out. They're not going to put a manhunt out. They're not going to go looking for him. It will just be if he's ever stopped, and he's put in a situation where they run a search on him. That's going to pop up,
right?
And they'll take him to jail. If there's a warrant for his arrest, they will arrest him.
Yeah, they're not going to. The people on the scene aren't going to care. They're just going to look at their screen, see what they need to do, and they're going to do it.
That's right.
Which is why y'all notice I get out when we enter the legal realm. Matt Murphy gets out of the way. I'm a politics guy. I get out of the way because my advice would be just don't go to Florida again. See, and that's not good advice, Jay. Not going to Florida again is not good advice. Roger, let's see if you're up. Roger, what's going on? You got a question for Jay?
Yes, sir. Hey, Matt and Jay, this is Roger in Hendersonville.
Yes, sir.
My wife and I had a question. So we had a gentleman. I need to know how to file a civil suit in Sumner County or in Tennessee or whatnot.
How much is it for, Roger? How much money is it issue?
About $3,500.
All right, here's what I can tell you exactly how to do it. Go to the Sumner County General Sessions Court website, General Sessions for that county, and it's very user-friendly. You can do it yourself. You don't have to hire a lawyer. I've talked to several people who've done that and done that successfully, and it's very user-friendly, and it only costs $140 to file the lawsuit, and you don't need a crayon, because you can actually fill out the paperwork online. So go to the Sumner County General Sessions Court website, and it's very user friendly, and you can represent yourself. And I wish you good luck.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Roger, for the Thank you for the telephone call. From 4828 on the super text line, if you lose an original will, how can you get a copy certified? Well, I guess you have to have a copy first.
Well, you got to have a copy. You just have to go through probate. And anymore, I mean, the probate law is stuck in the 18th century, Matt. But anymore, I don't even sign. We just don't. Duplicates are the same as originals. Mm-hmm. And under the rules of evidence, if the original's lost, duplicate can substitute for the original. But you just have to go through probate. If you don't have the original, but if you have a copy, if it's got a will, you're gonna have to probate it anyway. Just put the copy in, give the copy to the probate court, and I think that'll go through without any problems.
No, that's great advice, Jay. I love it, and I don't encourage it. I intentionally don't encourage it, but I love it when people ask you aspects of your past, and this is a great question, and I don't think I've ever heard the answer to this.
Oh, okay.
1004 said, and they asked it this way. I'm going to read it as I asked, but I would ask it a little differently. Jay, did Perry Mason inspire you to become a lawyer? And I would just
absolutely.
Was it Perry Mason?
The question is absolutely yes. I don't have any lawyers in my family. Didn't know any lawyers growing up. The only lawyer that I ever knew or heard of was Perry Mason.
Wow.
You were exactly right, sir or ma'am. And yes, I watched that as a kid, and I was intrigued. And yeah, that piqued my interest in the law. You are exactly right.
1471 has written in and wants to know, Matt, ask Jay, does the statute of limitations start when the crime happens or when it is discovered?
The crime. So the statute of limitations for crime. Now that statute of limitations begins to run when the crime is committed.
Okay.
So in other words, you steal something and the people don't find out about it until a year later. They don't really recognize its mission until a year later, and that's when you turn it in. No, the statute begins to run when you stole it.
Huh. Well, I mean, for thieves.
In civil cases, that's different.
Okay.
There's the discovery rule. It's called the discovery rule. In some civil cases, the statute of limitations for suing somebody. You can't sue somebody if you don't know you've been hurt.
Right.
And so there, a lot of times in civil cases, it will run from when the person discovers they've been injured. But for criminal, those statute of limitations are in place for the accused people. And so, no, that begins to run when the act occurred.
We're going to try to get to as many as we can. Rebecca, you are next for Jay St. Clair. Hey, Rebecca.
Hi. How's it going?
Doing well. What's your question?
Okay, I'll try to make it really quick. My daughter and son-in-law were stopped at a pizza place to get a pizza. He went back and sat in his car while he was waiting. Took a long time, went back in. They weren't working, and so he kind of got a little smart with them and just said, give him his money back. So they went across the street to a parking lot to decide what they were going to do, and the cops pulled up, and evidently the worker at the pizza place had called the cops saying that they were trespassing. Well, the cops asked him for his ID, and he refused to give it. And so, long story short, they put him in handcuffs and manhandled him into the vehicle. And so, I mean, what is his recourse? He was arrested.
Yeah, but they've turned him loose now, haven't they? They don't have any charges against him, do they?
I think they were trying to charge him with trespassing
but they
and
haven't.
arrest.
But they haven't issued any charges against him, have they, Rebecca?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, right. They turned him loose. And so they arrested him.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of gave him a hard time for a little bit. But he's not currently facing any charges. So, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rebecca, right?
Yeah, Rebecca.
Yeah. So he's not facing any charges. If he's facing charges, he needs to get a lawyer.
Yes, he is facing charges. I know they have court coming up.
Then in that case, he needs to get a lawyer.
Okay.
I would not go into court without being charged with a crime and not have a lawyer. He just needs a lawyer to represent him on that. First thing he needs to do is get the charges dismissed. Worry about suing the cops later. You got to kill the nearest snake. In the legal profession, we have some very technical legal terms, and one of those is kill the nearest snake. The nearest snake is going to prison. So the first thing he needs to do is get those charges dropped. Once he gets the charges dropped, then you can talk about suing the police or going after them. But don't worry about that. You got to kill the nearest snake first.
Rebecca, good luck with it, and let us know how it goes. I am sad to report that we are out of time for another edition of Frijay. You know how much I love it, Jay. Thank you for your time. Invoice me, and I will pay promptly. I promise you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, brother. Have a great weekend. There's Jay St. Clair. There's Frijay. Back in a moment. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. My man Jeff Eddy wants to keep it cool this summer, and it's hot, hot, hot. I heard Ken Weaver earlier today talking about that heat index, talking about it's over 100 degrees. Well, it is. I mean, it's true. I get it. And Jeff Eddy gets it, too. You need someone real quick to get out to your house if your AC goes out in these conditions. Jeff Eddy and his team, he's that guy, and they are those people. They will get to your home, they'll figure out what's going on, and they will clean up that issue and take care of you and get that AC running again. They'll do everything in their power to get the AC that you currently have going again. And if it's impossible, if it's just out, and you all know what I mean when it's out, then they'll talk to you about being an Elite Pro partner with Rheem and the proper system that's right for you, your home, and your family. EfficientHVAC.net for more information. EfficientHVAC.net or call 615-784-4424. 784-4424. Friends, maintenance is important. Always important to get it maintenance. But if it goes out, that's the most important thing. And Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, they are there for you. If your AC's not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling.
Possible road rage shooting in West Nashville. This story and more at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looking forward to that. Ken Weaver coming up in mere moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're almost at halftime of the Matt Murphy portion of the broadcast day on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mr. Jimmy's been holding for far too long. Mr. Jimmy waited through Frijay, and I appreciate that. Mr. Jimmy, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Mr. Jimmy, you waited a month of Sundays to talk with us. I'm glad to hear your voice. I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm just getting older by the minute.
Well, me too, Mr. Jimmy. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good, I guess, for
Yes, sir.
old folk.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, the most, let's see, the old people that I've talked to, they all think like I do. Anybody like Obama or Biden or Epstein or anybody associated with them are going to get away with breaking the law. They need to change the law where there is no time limit on a crime, that they would be accountable for it.
100% correct, Mr. Jimmy. I could not agree with you more. And I'll tell you what, I'm about to introduce this subject, and I want you to keep listening. And thank you for calling me, and keep us up to date with how you're doing, because people ask about you all the time, Mr. Jimmy, okay?
Well, I'm glad.
Well, they do. And when you don't call for, a week or so, folks get worried about you. So we're thinking about you down in Shelbyville, okay?
Most of the time, y'all hang up.
Well,
it's a long time.
I know.
I don't get to talk to you.
I know it. I'll try to check you out and make sure that I get to you a little bit quicker next time. Okay.
Okay.
All
fine.
right. Well, we appreciate you, Mr. Jimmy. Sorry, I made him hold through Frijay. But what he brought up, I agree with him, and I disagree with the president. Donald Trump said something today that I disagree with. I will share that comment and offer my thoughts coming up in moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got a hot weekend ahead for the Tennessee tax-free weekend. Clothing, school supplies, and computers eligible in-store and online. That tax-free weekend runs all the way through Sunday. And let's see just how hot it is right now, shall we? I'm looking at 93 degrees, the actual temperature, but the National Weather Service says it feels like 100. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4 says police are investigating a possible road rage shooting in West Nashville. Initial reports indicate that at least one person was injured as someone opened fire as two vehicles exited I-40 onto Charlotte Pike. Police say those shots came from a Mercedes. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has wrapped up a second interview with Jeffrey Epstein's former sex trafficking companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell appealing her conviction on those charges that have her serving a 20-year prison sentence. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Emerging from a second day of talks between his client and the Deputy Attorney General, Ghislaine Maxwell's defense lawyer said the convicted sex trafficker didn't hold anything back.
She was asked maybe about 100 different people. She answered questions about everybody.
David Marcus said while there's been no request for clemency on his client's part and no promises made.
Of course, everybody knows that Miss Maxwell would welcome any relief.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Yeah, President Trump keeps getting asked if he would pardon Maxwell.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Trump's former defense attorney who interviewed Maxwell today, announced that the Department of Justice will share additional information about what was learned, quote, at the appropriate time. Well, the so-called doomsday mother, Lori Daybell, who was convicted of killing her children and fifth husband's wife in Idaho, has now been sentenced in Arizona for 2 more life terms for conspiracy to commit murder there. Daybell has proclaimed apocalyptic views.
Before the Arizona judge gave Lori Daybell 2 more life sentences on top of the life terms she already has in Idaho, she told the judge all of the victims that she's been convicted of killing in both states are happy and enjoying the afterlife.
Heaven is a very busy and happy place where everyone is engaged in projects that they love to do.
The judge saying she will never get out of prison.
It will take an act of God for you to go free.
Alex Stone, EBC News.
Google has to pay thousands of dollars to a man who was caught on Street View completely naked in his own backyard. It happened in Argentina back in 2017 when a Google camera captured the man, a police officer, while he was behind a 6-foot wall in his private garden. Well, his house number and street name were also visible and subsequently broadcast on Argentine TV. Shared widely on social media, leading to ridicule among his colleagues and neighbors. How much, you might ask, is Google ordered to pay? $12,500 for violating that man's dignity. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Jolton got a crash blocking the right lane 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike, Berry Hill. Police reporting a crash 440 eastbound at I-65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, I absolutely love getting an opportunity to speak with you on a day-to-day basis, and I thank you for spending a bit of time with us. Whether it's 5 minutes or so or the full 4 hours, we thank you, thank you, thank you. We are a part of live and local conversation that begins really early in the mornings with Dan Mandis and Nashville's Morning News. It goes through Chris Hand, 9 to noon, through Chad Benson, noon to 3, and then we end up with me from 3 until 7. The talk radio continues with Mark Levin and Beyond All That into Red Eye Radio, but we especially thank you for being a part of our live and local commentary on Super Talk 99.7. WTN, if you do me a favor, tell a friend or a neighbor about us. We'd appreciate that. Now, see, y'all have probably noticed, and several of you have commented on this regarding the on the Super Text line. Y'all have probably noticed that, Jackson, have you noticed that, that Ken Weaver's poking the bear?
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
What do you mean?
Weaver's over there. Oh, now he's all innocent.
I have not.
Poking the bear over there going, well, it feels 187 degrees outside.
As of right now, I cannot remember doing that.
As I live and breathe.
As I sit here.
I sit here right now,
I can't
boys,
remember.
I can't remember doing
It's really a brilliant. It will come in handy at some point. Jay taught me that. He's because I'm about to get deposed, and I'd never been deposed before, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about things that happened 3.5 years ago, Jay. I said, I can remember some of this stuff, and I'm not going to lie. Of course I'm not going to lie. I said, well, don't do that. He said, but here's the thing, Matt. And he taught me that. He said, here's the thing. He said, nobody's forcing you to an answer. If you can't remember how something happened, tell them. He said, but here's the way that I would suggest you do that. You say, as I sit here, he said, because, and what we talked about is, because sometimes they'll go, well, did you say this? And you say, well, no, I didn't say that. I don't remember saying it. Well, what about this piece of paper? This piece of paper right here says you said it. Well, all you have to do is say, well, as I sit here today, I don't remember saying that. Well, what about this piece of paper? Well, I guess you're reminding me of something I did then. I don't know. But, he remembers, y'all. He's Mr. Ken Weaver. I hear these newscasts where he's talking about the heat index. That's fine. I'm just the blabbermouth in this room. You're the newsman. So.
Dude, I have to report what the National Weather Service says.
And so the heat index is over 100?
No, it's sitting at 100.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I bet that's hot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
what's the temperature?
Actual temperature is 93 degrees.
93 degrees.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot. But the National Weather Service is reporting the heat index is 100.
7258 said it feels like Friday Eve on this Friday, according to the National Weather Service. Y'all don't get me started. If you're just joining us on the show, maybe just getting off work, happy weekend. We love to remind you of one of the reasons that our weekends are so special, and that's those weekend warriors that make the weekends as special as they are. I'm not just talking about the police officers and firefighters and EMTs, doctors, nurses, and all of that. Of course, we're talking about the first responders, but we're also talking about restaurateurs, convenience store workers, anybody that's working over the course of a Saturday and Sunday that makes your and my Saturday and Sunday a bit more pleasurable. We say thank you to you weekend warriors. We appreciate you, and we'll hoist one in your honor at some point over the course of the weekend. Now, all of that to say, if you missed some of the earlier broadcast, you missed Representative Aftyn Behn, who was on the show with us for the better part of an hour. That was in the 3 o'clock hour. Join us on the podcast and check that out. A lot of reaction to Aftyn's appearance on the show, and all I can say is I appreciate her being on the show. She said at the end of it, as she was walking out, that she was thankful for the opportunity because it gives her a chance to hone her answers to more aggressive questions. I think that's the way she put it. To which I'll say, as politely as I can, well, you need that. You need that.
Did you notice that a couple of times, whenever you were asking her questions, she kind of had that sigh, like she kind of like, where are you?
Well, and at one point, Ken, I don't remember I asked her something and she gave me that sigh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a legitimate question.
Well, and it was.
I understand that maybe you're not accustomed. But that's why it's so important that someone like Aftyn come on a show like mine sincerely, because I don't think she recognizes the number of people in the 7th Congressional District that think differently than her. There's a lot of them. Now, what she's counting on, and let me just explain to y'all how this works. The Democrats nationally, they're looking at the 7th Congressional District special election as an opportunity, guys.
You think they're going to pour a lot of money into it?
I do. Because, well, they're looking for their candidate, and they would look strongly at Aftyn because she she's a youthful, exuberant candidate. She's got a lot of energy, and she is just very pleasant. And I'm not talking about good looking. I'm talking about she is very pleasant. Even in the face of an aggressive questioner like me, she's very pleasant. And that will attract some people that maybe wouldn't normally be attracted. Number 2, and more importantly, Ken, in a special election, especially in a district like number 7 that is largely Republican, there might be a little bit of a malaise amongst Republicans not to go out and vote because it's not normally a time that they would go out and vote. December 2nd is the general election. And I promise you, whether it's Aftyn Behn or Bo Mitchell or whoever it might be, there's a third guy. There's a third person that's running. I forget their name. Vincent Dixie. That's right. So there's 3 people running as Democrats. Vincent Dixie, Bo Mitchell, and Aftyn Behn. Whomever comes out of that, and I expect it probably will be Aftyn, I think there will be money spent on that race on the possibility that Republicans just stay at home. You see, the idea is, well, am I going to go out and vote in this one race for the general election candidate, or am I just going to stay home because the Republican's going to win anyway, and I don't need to go out of my way to get in the car and drive all the way to the polling station and stand there and have to fill out the thing and show my ID, and now I got to go vote and get back in. It's just the one election. That Republican will win. Well, if, 30% of Republicans that would normally vote stay home, then the Democrats have a better chance at it if all of them go to the polls. And that's the idea, is that turnout is key in a special election like that. Obviously, the 7th Congressional District's Republican. Obviously, in any fair fight, the GOP candidate is going to win. But if all of the GOP voters stay home and all the Democrat voters show up, then you could have yourself a problem in District number 7. And that's what the Democrats are hoping for. That's what they want. So there you go. Armchair PD says, why are you giving into this current clickbait fad of reporting feels like temps as the real temp? Be better than that. Well, I'm not. Armchair PD. That's Armchair PD. I like how he describes himself. Armchair PD.
Yes, sir.
And that is very much an Armchair PD thing to say. Why are you giving into this current clickbait fad of reporting feels like? Well, look, all I can tell you is this. I love Ken Weaver. And he's going to be my friend.
I love you too, Brother Murphy.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
I can give you the barometric pressure too.
What's that BP doing?
Right now, the National Weather Service indicates that the barometric pressure is 30.04.
Holy moly!
Now,
what's that mean?
That means it's not going to snow anytime soon.
Well, that's good. That's good to know.
It might mean the fish are biting. I'm not sure, but it may be too hot for the fish to bite right now.
Man, I don't know how that works either.
I don't
Ken.
even know if that matters.
I don't like. You know what? I don't. Do you like to fish?
I do.
I don't like to fish, but I sure as hell love drinking on a boat.
Yeah, I like that too.
And I'll go do drinking on a boat with the best of them. Who's the Republicans in the race? So that's a good question. 1972.
That is a good question.
We got Matt Van Epps is running. I can't name them all off the top of my head, but Matt Van Epps, Jody Barrett, Lee Reeves, 3 candidates that I know is running. Jay Reedy was running, but Jay Reedy dropped out, so he's no longer in there. But those are your big 3 so far, and there are like 3 others. And I apologize to the also-rans. I can look it up, and I'll figure it out. 0194 Ken says that the barometric pressure might be 30.4, but it feels like 36.8.
Yes, sir. I love that.
5811 says that's the weather wizard, Murphy. I gave him that name during the Chad Benson show, and Chad Benson ran with it. Signed, Justin. Well, kudos to you, Justin. I'll defer, I should say, to the weather wizard. I don't defer to Donald Trump on this front, though. Donald Trump had something to say about Barack Obama and whether or not Barack Obama violated the law. And Trump made a comment earlier today that I just disagree with his reading of this. Now, reasonable people can disagree on this front, but I want to share with you what Donald Trump had to say earlier today in front of the White House before he got on Marine One regarding the SCOTUS ruling on presidential immunity and whether or not that would apply to Barack Hussein Obama.
Thank you, Mr. President. How do you think that the Supreme Court's ruling that benefited you on presidential immunity would apply to former President Barack Obama and what you're accusing him of doing?
It probably helps him a lot. Probably helps him a lot, the immunity ruling. But it doesn't help the people around him at all. But it probably helps him a lot. Well, he's done criminal acts, there's no question about it. But he has immunity, and it probably helps him a lot.
Trade agreement you're looking to sign too.
He owes me big. Obama owes me big.
I like he got it in there. Obama owes me big. I disagree humbly and respectfully with the President of the United States of America. And here's what I'm going to say. I don't have the ruling in front of me, but I did read it at the time that it came out. And we talked about this a couple of days ago because the question came up whether or not the immunity decision regarding President Donald Trump would apply in the case of Barack Obama. Here's why it doesn't, in my opinion. The Supreme Court was very clear in their distinction between the president operating in his official capacity as president of the United States and exterior to that official role or capacity. And Donald Trump was accused of doing something as president of the United States of America under his official duties. And the Supreme Court said that a president could not be charged while exercising his official duties as president. And what he was doing falled under those parameters, regardless of whether you agreed with it or not. And maybe you don't like where the law is, you don't like what the law is. You can't charge a president based on that law. What I would argue is that this does not give a president of the United States the authority to kill someone just randomly, because those are not under the parameters of a presidential duty, unless that person is an enemy combatant or whatever. I mean, there's some scenarios that I could come up with. The bottom line is this: Barack Obama was not acting in his official capacity necessarily when he authorized or demanded, well, it remains to be seen, underlings to concoct a phony report based on a phony dossier that everybody knew was fake and phony. Now, I understand why the president said what he said, and I understand why certain legal minds would suggest that it would fall under the immunity standard, and it would have to be decided in a court. But Donald J. Trump is right about this, that Obama may or may not have immunity. I don't think he does, because I don't think what he was doing was in his official capacity as president of the United States. I think it falls exterior to it. But John Brennan and Jim Clapper and James Comey, they don't have presidential immunity, and they damn sure committed a violation of the law, and they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of it. This is not just exploiting a political loophole. This is creating a false narrative, feeding that false narrative to the intelligence community, feeding that false narrative to the media community, and knowingly attempting to impeach a duly elected president as a result of what you're doing. Let's put it this way. We know that Barack Obama received information. We know that Brennan and Clapper received information. We know that they didn't like what they received, and they told their intelligence people to go make a new report. And they wanted that report to tie what the Russians were doing with Trump. They wanted to suggest, and they eventually came to the conclusion that Trump, quote, colluded with the Russians. That was the key word, because collusion indicates that it goes both ways, that they know what you're doing and you know what they do, and you're doing it for the same purpose, in this case, to win an election. There was no collusion, but they created the connection of collusion on purpose. And I ask you this, why? Why? If it was not to overthrow the will of the American people, then what was the purpose? I'd love to hear from you. 615-737-9986, 23 after the hour on Super Talk. I have a statistic for you that is difficult. Well, when I first heard it, I was like, wow, that is eye-opening. And that statistic is this. Over 90% of all the people that go into prison are going to get out at some point or another. Men of Valor taught me that statistic. And they said, well, what kind of men do we want coming out of the prison system? Do you want career criminals? Do you want people that are going to offend again? Do you want takers in society and not givers? Or do you want men of honor, men of integrity, men of valor? Obviously, Men of Valor is a wonderful organization. You hear me talking about them all the time. They equip men with the tools and resources they need to succeed upon being released from being incarcerated, including housing, food, clothing, transportation, ID, employment, recovery groups, and so much more. Most of all, support, godly support that can help keep them on track and make them givers in society as opposed to takers. Will you give? If you give of your time, that's so glorious. If you give a few bucks, we appreciate that too. Don't forget about this date, October 1st. It's the second annual Men of Valor Gala that is happening in Franklin. We'll tell you more about that as the time comes. But right now, go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com for our friends at Men of Valor. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Man, oh, man, the Tennessee Men's Clinic can help you fellows out. Let me tell you this. Guys, if you find yourself to be low energy, if you don't know why, if you've reached a certain age and you're like, well, this is just the way it goes, Murphy, you lose a step or two once you get into your 40s. If this thing has manifested itself in romantic relationships or romantic activity, guys, I have a solution for you. Contact the Tennessee Men's Clinic. In all seriousness, you wait too long to do this, and it's not going to go away on its own. Let's get with these are naturally occurring events in your life that you can repair, and you can get back into life as a result of your visit with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Consultation is available to you. Talk to one of their qualified urologists. Get a plan of action in place, and they're going to get you back into the game, men. It starts with a telephone call, 615-208-9090, 208-9090, or go online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. 2 locations, one's in Cool Springs and the other in Midtown. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Tennessee Men's Clinic.
Channel 4 says 2 people are hurt and 2 people have been detained as police investigate a possible road rage shooting in West Nashville this afternoon. We'll get you more details at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, yeah. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We've got a few minutes before we get to the news, and after that, it's nincompoops in the news, and then it's a slow but steady slide to the weekend on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Look, I agree with you, Patrick. Patrick writes in and says, I hate to be Debbie Downer, but let's be real. Did Obama and his minions break the law? Probably. Will it matter? Nope. Will any of them go to jail? Nope. It's a fait accompli. The system is rigged, and no one's going to go to jail for this. Here's what I would say about that. I do not believe, although we can fight for justice, we can fight for truth. Those are two different things sometimes. And sometimes getting the truth in front of the American people and demanding that the mainstream media recognize the truth is a win in and of itself. As I said in the aftermath of Hillary and her home-brewed server, I said at the time, I know I wasn't in Nashville at the time, but you can fact-check me on it, that Hillary's not going to jail, y'all. And everybody's like, lock her up, lock her up. Remember that, 2015? Lock her up, lock her up. And everybody wanted to lock her up. I said, look, did she break the law? 100%. Is she going to get locked up? No. Why? The deep state's going to protect her. That's why. And they did. Is Barack Obama going to be locked up for what he did? Nah, probably not. But I'm not so sure about Brennan and Clapper. Only because we are learning that they lied. 100% lied in front of Congress. And if nothing else, I believe we can get a jury of their peers to agree that they told a lie when they promised to tell the truth. And that should mean something as well. And that is Murphy's take on it on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's time for the news.
.5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4 says 2 people are hurt and 2 people have been detained as police investigate a possible road rage shooting in West Nashville, happened about 4:15 this afternoon. Initial reports indicate someone opened fire as 2 vehicles exited I-40 onto Charlotte Pike. Those shots coming from a Mercedes. 2 people reportedly shot and transported to Centennial Medical Center by private vehicle. Their condition unknown, according to News 2. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has wrapped up a second interview of Jeffrey Epstein's former sex trafficking companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell's attorney, David O'Marcus, says she gave information on 100 people and was honest in her answers, he says.
Ghislaine answered every single question asked of her over the last day and a half. She answered those questions honestly, truthfully, to the best of her ability. She never invoked a privilege. She never refused to answer a question.
And then, are you angling for a pardon?
We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
But President Trump says...
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
Deputy Attorney General Blanche, Trump's former defense attorney, announced the Department of Justice will share additional information about what was learned during these interviews, quote, at the appropriate time. And after a recent breakdown in Gaza ceasefire negotiations, President Trump said...
They pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was too bad. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die.
He further indicated Hamas leaders will be, quote, hunted down and that Israel will, quote, need to finish the job and, quote, get rid of the militant group. The Tennessee Tax-Free Holiday Weekend is happening now, running through Sunday. This annual event allowing you to purchase qualifying items exempt from Tennessee sales tax, which can be as high as 9.75% when state and local rates are combined. Clothing, school supplies, and computers are eligible, both in-store and online. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Jolton got a crash blocking the right lane 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike. Looking here northbound 65, it is brake tapping up to the South Loop downtown. Eastbound South Loop starts to slow down right there about Demumbrian and then stays that way until you get to 65 and beyond. That's traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, Matt Murphy here for Nashville Safe House. Do you have a safe in your home? Do you own guns? Well, if the answer to the first question is no and the second question is yes, may I recommend you go to Nashville Safe House, especially over the next month, because they got deals galore at Nashville Safe House. Rebates in-house and rebates from the manufacturer. That's right, Browning rebates and Liberty Safe rebates at Nashville Safe House right now. You heard Mark earlier this week talk about these incredible rebates. They already have great prices on safes. By the way, they don't deliver safes for free. And one of the reasons that I fell in love with the way Mark does business, and one, they've got the best selection around. They've got more safes than you can possibly imagine. They have something for everyone. But two, they're straightforward with you. You know how heavy a safe is? Nobody delivers a safe for free. Some of the other guys, they like to embed the cost of delivery for the safe in the price of the safe, and they like to call it free. Mark doesn't do that. He tells you what the safe costs, what it costs to deliver it, and they're professional delivery crews, not some third party that nobody knows who they are or where they came from. They're professional delivery crews at Nashville Safe House. Deliver your safe and put it where you want in your home. That's what it's all about. Straightforward talk, great prices, great rebates, and the best selection around at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com to see more or stop by 4th Avenue South in Nashville. Tell them Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House. Ba-da-ba-dum. Ba-da-ba-da-bow-bow. Bow. Ba-da-ba-dum. Oh, hello. Fancy meeting you here. My name is Matt Murphy, and that's my name on the door. It's the Matt Murphy Show. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased you've joined us. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Would love to hear from you at any point for the rest of the proceedings until 7 o'clock tonight. Armchair PD writes back and says the only thing that has a chance of getting Obama would be conspiracy after the fact, after he was out of office, and it would need to be brought after the midterms. Nothing's going to touch Barack Obama, sadly, although I don't believe that he enjoys immunity for acts made exterior to his official duties as president of the United States of America. Now, I will humbly defer to the current president who says, oh, Obama owes me big. Maybe so. But when it comes to people like Adam Shifty Schiff, the pencil neck, or Clapper, or Brennan, or Comey, they don't have the same comfort. And I hope we do everything in our power to bring these people to justice, particularly Brennan and Clapper. They're, with the possible exception of Anthony Fauci, I can find no better example of egotistical, holier-than-thou, smug, deep state bureaucrats that think that their poo don't stink, that they smell like roses, that nothing applies to them, that you're a bunch of plebes. Brennan and Clapper are the epitome of these examples. They think they're better than you. They're holier than thou. They don't have to, they're not held to account. They're smarter than you. And I would love nothing more than to watch them get their just desserts. And justice compels me to tell you they need to be in jail because they have violated the law. They believe themselves to be above the law. And that is what I have to say about that. It is 20 until the top of the hour. It's high time for Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk.
Nincompoops in the News.
When I give you the poke, you're kind of late on the poke there, Jackson.
It's because it's so close. You got to kind of.
You know, when I give you the old finger, you want me to give you the strong finger, not the weak, the strong
Well,
finger.
you've already given me the finger on Super Talk TV.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. There's screenshots of it. It's time for Nincompoops in the News. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Ken Weaver. He's back in News Closet B. Hello, Ken.
What's going on, boys?
What is happening? There's Jackson Williams. He's between the Weaves and myself. He's over in the control area. Everything under control there, Jackson?
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part. And there's Matt Murphy. Jackson doesn't seem too excited because he knows who won yesterday. Tell everybody who won Nincompoops in the News yesterday, Jackson.
Whoever gets to count the votes, I guess, won.
Listen.
Ken, I think we had some ballots sent in.
Well, are you suggesting that
there's ballot harvesting?
Are you suggesting there were mail-in ballots harvested?
I saw 100 votes for Matt Murphy being wheeled in from his truck.
Right, at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I just pulled them out from under the desk when appropriate. We had a toilet overflow. We got to shut all this down. That's what happened. One way or the other. The ballots have been counted. No takesy-backsies. Matt Murphy won yesterday.
That's the way to go, Brother Murphy.
Well, thank you, Ken Weaver. I appreciate this. So you worked in Albuquerque at one time.
I did. KKOB, a Cumulus station.
How about that? How did you find? I love New Mexico.
Oh, I do too.
And by the way, as an aside, may I say, did you ever get to Ruidoso?
No. Never got to Ruidoso.
So I've only been through. I didn't really spend a lot of time in Albuquerque. We flew into Albuquerque. The in-laws live in Roswell, and mostly we would drive, but then there's some other in-laws in Santa Fe, so I stomped around Roswell, and I've stomped around Santa Fe plenty.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, sir.
I mean, all of it. I mean, even Albuquerque's fabulous.
Yes.
Even the meth heads are beautiful in Albuquerque. Anyway.
Yeah.
But Ruidoso is on the mountain, and Inn of the Mountain Gods is up there, and a lot of people comment on the resort area that is Ruidoso, but Ruidoso has a good amount of poverty going on, too.
Yeah, it does.
And I've seen that with my own eyes because we would go up to the Inn of the Mountain Gods quite a bit, and they went through fires like a year and a half or 2 years ago. I mean, just devastated that community, and now they have had repeated flooding. And in part because of the fires that cleared out so much undergrowth and so much underbrush, the flooding is just rampant and uncontrolled. And just, if you have an ability, if you have the wherewithal, just say a little prayer for those folks up there, because I'm thinking about them. Now, on to Albuquerque. My nincompoop involves newly released video from police showing a passenger starting a fight with a city bus driver in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which ultimately led to the driver facing murder charges.
Goodness.
Well, that got out of hand quickly. The incident began July 9th in the morning in northwest Albuquerque. A city bus driven by 41-year-old David Gabaldon was making its rounds at 6:30 in the morning when he picked up two passengers along Coors Boulevard. One of the passengers had complaints about the driver's punctuality. Must have been late. The older passenger continued to gripe about the punctual service or the lack thereof, prompting Gabaldon to stop the bus near Coors in Hanover. He then demanded that the older man get off his bus or he would not continue the route, causing annoyance amongst the other passengers. That is when Raymond Cohn stepped into the argument. Cohn reportedly said, "When you're saying the rest of us need to sit down and shut up, that's not the best bleeping thing to say." Gabaldon said, "So what do you want to say? What do you want me to say?" The situation escalated quickly from there, and they started laying hands on one another, men.
Start throwing hands, did they?
They threw hands. Cohn threw the first punch. A struggle broke out. Gabaldon grabbed pepper spray and used it against Cohn. This is a bus driver. The two eventually separated, and Cohn retreated to the back of the bus while Gabaldon left in anger. He left the bus.
The bus wasn't going down the road at this time, was it?
Apparently no.
Okay.
Video footage from the bus shows Cohn watching Gabaldon before exiting from the back. The fight continued outside of the bus. Can you imagine being a bad? It's like, I just want to get to work.
I have to ride the bus. Can we not make this worse?
Gabaldon was seen reaching for what appeared to be a knife. He then stabbed Cohn twice on camera. Cohn was seen backing away, cursing, but Gabaldon pursued him, even as Cohn attempted to step away. According to court documents, the fight continued in front of the gas station until Cohn went down. Officers arrived minutes later. Cohn was taken into the University of New Mexico hospital. Did not survive. I don't often do stories about people dying on nincompoops because we try to keep it light and fun, but my goodness gracious. Gabaldon, the bus driver, you are a nincompoop in the news and need to be thrown under the bus. No pun intended.
Wow.
Man.
That's a heck of a bus ride.
I mean, that's something else. I mean, so old fella. Now, no word on the old fella that started all this. No word on his status. So old fella complaining about dude being late started all of this, and eventually it led to somebody dead.
Yeah, somebody should have just stepped away from that and said, all right,
hold on, everybody.
Let's all calm down.
Let's settle down. There's a bomb on the bus. We got to go 55 miles an hour, otherwise we're all going to die. Jackson, you're a nincompoop, sir.
All right, man arrested for beating a gator with a golf club in Lake County, Florida. A man in Lake County, Florida is accused of beating an alligator with a golf club. Witnesses said it was all over a lost fishing lure. According to an arrest report from Florida Fish and Wildlife, 28-year-old Hunter Crumbo admitted to catching and beating the gator. The report says it happened in a waterway in Monteverde, which neighbors say connects to Lake Apopka. Kimberly Strickland said she saw some of the beating happen and said, "You don't have to be that evil. You just don't." She said a man was fishing in the canal earlier this month when she heard him shouting about a gator has my lure in its mouth, my $20 lure or something. So he was pulling on the thing to try to get it out.
My $20 lure.
And he picked up something and he started hitting it. I kept yelling, "Stop, stop," according to the arrest report. On the same night the incident happened, another woman in the neighborhood reported to have law enforcement that a different man asked her how to clean an alligator because he had been thinking about eating one that someone had beaten. The assault on the gator didn't end with the clubbing, according to the arrest report. Identified as two different people by witnesses mutilated the gator. Florida Fish and Wildlife arrested Crumbo on July 16th. That's the second time the agency has arrested him this year. He was sentenced to probation earlier this month after being charged with stealing artifacts from an archaeological site along the shore of Lake Apopka. Crumbo is now facing a felony charge of illegal killing, possessing, or capturing of alligators.
You got to know that if you're fishing in a canal in Florida, you might snag a gator.
Yep.
You might attract an alligator.
I see.
Especially with a $20 lure.
I thought beating the gator was something different. So
what?
So no. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking something
what
to
was
myself.
That, Matt?
I was just thinking something to myself. So, yeah, when these stories pop up, I root for the gator.
Yeah,
natural selection.
He's just hungry.
Gator's just doing what the gator's being a gator.
Yeah,
right. Gator's just doing what gator does. When I hear stories in Florida about poor Fluffy getting burped by the gator, I'm like, I'm sorry, Fluffy, should have been on a leash. Gator's gonna gator. Shark's gonna shark.
So. Gators are protected in Florida? Like you just can't up and kill a gator?
That's what I was curious about. So you just can't up and whoop on a gator and beat them to death.
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess there's a fine line between, hey, my life was in danger. I mean, I guess it's a pretty bright line, right? One is my life was in danger. Gator was coming after me. I was defending myself. The other was I had to get my $20 lure back.
That's a $20 lure.
Is that a lot for a lure?
I don't know. I'm not a fisherman.
I don't know. I just use those little bangers to fish with.
I use live bait.
Yeah, well, mine's not live, but you know those little wieners? Those little miniature wieners?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I use those.
He's familiar. I'm sorry I had to.
I am, Jackson. I am familiar. How about you?
I'm talking about little smokies.
So's Jackson. Never mind. See, never mind. There's a line there.
We're getting dangerously close to it.
You boys better let me get to mine.
Yeah, Ken Weaver, let's do some nincompoops. Go ahead, please.
Well, we're going to stay in trouble with this one.
Uh-oh.
A man was arrested after being caught on camera sniffing a woman's butt at a Walmart in L.A. County, California.
We're just going to get right down to it.
It was over by the little smoky aisle. Burbank police were initially called to a nearby Nordstrom rack regarding a suspicious man in the women's department. Upon arrival, the man had left, but officers located him at the nearby Walmart. Surveillance footage from Walmart showed 38-year-old Khalees Caron Crowder following a female customer, crouching behind her and sniffing her buttocks. Officers detained Crowder at the scene. Crowder has a history of similar incidents in the area. Dating back to 2021.
They caught the serial butt sniffer.
Yeah, while he was sniffing this woman's butt, he was on parole in a similar incident at a Barnes & Noble back in 2023.
You know, Walmart, but Barnes & Noble's a classy establishment, Ken.
Right. Well, it's hard to get a read on people there. The Burbank City Attorney's Office has charged Crowder with loitering with intent to commit a crime. He was held on a $100,000 bail and is scheduled to appear in court August 1st, 2025.
What you in for? Butt sniffing?
I sniffed this old gal's butt over by the little Smokies.
I guess you know what you like.
Why are you going to Walmart for that?
I mean, it does not seem the place. I mean, Nordstrom Rack. Now that,
just buy something and go home.
I can see that.
Take a cold shower.
My goodness gracious.
What do you think about that one, boys? I used AI to find it.
There you go. There's the crocodile killer, the moron bus driver, or the Walmart butt sniffer.
Yes, sir.
Those are your three choices today. I feel like Nincompoops has hit a new low. And we're proud of it.
We don't have a prayer, Murphy.
53 after the hour. Super Talk Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Let's talk to Dr. Brian McLaughlin. How you sleeping? Have you wondered if you're sleeping well? Well, if you're low energy or if you find yourself waking up periodically throughout the night, then these can be signs of sleep apnea. Ask your significant other if you snore. If you do snore, the possibility exists that you also have sleep apnea. And if you have sleep apnea, this can cause you health concerns now and down the road. Friends, there is a custom fabricated oral appliance that is approved by the FDA that I use. Matt Murphy has one in my home, and I use it. It is that FDA-approved device that can help keep the airway open. You breathe regularly throughout the night, and friends, you don't have the sleep apnea that you used to have. And that can save your health and ultimately, frankly, save your life. And they're in network and insurance for most insurance companies in the state of Tennessee. Dr. Brian McLaughlin's ready to see you. Go to TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com for more info and find out how they can help you. I promise you, they can help you. TennesseeSleep.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. National Weather Service says the heat index is now 98 degrees and the actual temperature 92. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, as many as 2 people are hurt and 2 people detained as police investigate what they think was a road rage shooting in West Nashville. Initial reports indicate someone opened fire as these 2 cars were exiting I-40 onto Charlotte Pike. Looks like the shots might have come from a Mercedes involved. 2 people reportedly shot and transported to Centennial Medical Center by private vehicle. President Trump in Scotland asked about the second day of Justice Department officials interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned former girlfriend of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
And then?
You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton.
So Maxwell's lawyer stated she answered all questions asked by the Department of Justice, including questions, quote, about 100 different people connected to the Epstein case, adding that she didn't hold anything back. Right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says some community advocates are pushing back on President Trump's new executive order to combat homelessness that encourages local governments to revive a process to place people with mental health issues in treatment facilities without their consent.
That just adds to the pressure of what people already have to go through and experience. I believe that housing is health care, and I'm very concerned that this executive order prioritizes removal over restoration of fellow humans.
Channel 4 says the Metro Office of Homelessness says it is reviewing the executive order, but argues Housing First allows social workers to connect people with social support they require. The so-called doomsday mother, Lori Daybell, who was convicted of killing her children in Idaho, is now facing sentencing in Arizona in 2 separate cases. Daybell proclaiming apocalyptic views.
In Arizona, Lori Daybell was convicted in April of conspiracy to commit murder for the death of her former husband, Charles Vallow. Then in June, a jury found her guilty of conspiracy to commit murder in the attempted shooting of her niece's ex-boyfriend. In victim impact statements on Friday, Larry Woodcock, the grandfather of Daybell's murdered son, saying,
"May God have mercy on your soul, because that's the only thing in life. And don't count on God where you're going."
Daybell's Arizona sentence is being added to her life sentence in Idaho for killing her 2 children as well as her 5th husband's ex-wife. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says today the first deportation flights from Alligator Alcatraz have started in the past few days.
I don't want it to be something where people, illegals, are just being stored there and then just kind of sitting. I want it to be where illegals are here, there's an aggressive processing and an aggressive deportation schedule. That's what you're seeing.
About 100 detainees have been transferred to other countries via flights operated by the Department of Homeland Security, with hundreds more sent to federal deportation hubs in other states like Louisiana. And the CDC and FDA are investigating a multi-state salmonella outbreak linked to Deep brand frozen sprouted mung beans and frozen sprouted mat beans. Cheetah LLC Group recalled the beans on July 16th. Since then, 11 people in 10 states, including Tennessee, have been infected with that same salmonella strain. The recalled products sold in 16-ounce packages with specific lot codes. Consumers advised not to eat, sell, or serve those recalled beans. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. I-24, the left shoulder is blocked eastbound after Bell Road. Metro Police reporting a crash there. In Jolton, police are still working an earlier accident, 24 eastbound near Whites Creek Pike. And then police say there's a crash 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Final hour of our show. We'll hand off to Mark Levin in less than an hour from now. Would love to hear from you. We kind of open up the phone lines in this final hour. It's a free-for-all, if you will, 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Is Weaver back there? Is he doing something back there?
He's working hard, bringing us the news.
Well, just let him know before he gets out of here that for the first time in Nincompoops in the News history, I have not bothered to tally votes.
Oh!
Do you think that's fair, Jackson?
I think it's more fair than yesterday.
I mean, we got the Gator beating story. We got the dude on the bus who dared suggest that the bus driver was late and got stabbed as a result. And then we got Ken Weaver telling us about a dude that's going into Walmart and sniffing the women's butts. Well.
So who won, me?
It wasn't you, Jackson. I mean, I'm just glance. Ken has kicked butt.
Not sniffed.
Pooter sniffer for the win. I thought for sure that Florida man had my vote, but I have to officially cast my ballot in favor of the butt sniffer. Ken wins. Ken wins. It's easier to sniff big butts, and they're usually just covered by pajama. Nobody wants to know your technique, Andy. You gross.
Andy, where were you this week?
Probably in the Walmarts. I vote for entry number 4, Lil Smokies.
Little Smokies.
Anyway, Brother Ken has officially come out victorious in Nincompoops in the News. Congratulations to him. This story was brought to my attention mere moments ago. Of you ladies that listen to the show, have any of you been on the app called TEA? Until 4 or 5 minutes ago, was unaware that this app existed. But apparently it does. And apparently it's been hacked. TEA, as in spill the tea. So I guess this is like spill the tea. So the app is named, I'm going to spill the tea. I'm going to tell all the secrets. I'm going to let y'all know what's going on. You gossipy women out there, listen up. Because if you're on this stupid app, you're in trouble. Maybe. An app designed to let women safely discuss men that they date, has been breached, with thousands of selfies and photo identification of users exposed, according to the company. Said that about 72,000 images were leaked online, including 13,000 images of selfies or selfies featuring photo identification that users submitted during account verification. You should try to get on this app. You've got a nice, pretty face, Jackson. You should try to get on the app. Maybe just do it from like the nose up so we don't get all the facial hair. I'm assuming guys can't get on this app, right? I'm assuming that it is women only.
Are you saying I have a girly face?
I'm saying you have a lovely bone structure, is what I'm saying. Jackson.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Says that no email addresses or phone numbers were accessed, And the breach only affected users who signed up before February of 2024. This thing's been going on for a year or over a year. T has engaged third-party cybersecurity experts and are working around the clock to secure its systems. At this time, there's no evidence to suggest that any additional user data was affected. Protecting T users and their privacy is our highest priority. T presents itself as a safe way. You know what it is? It's a safe way for women to gossip. I mean, that's all this is.
It's to spill the tea, Matt. That's what it's called.
I guess so. T presents itself as a safe way for women to anonymously vet men they might connect with on dating apps such as Tinder or Bumble. Well, is Bumble just another Tinder?
They're all the same.
Grindr's not. Trust me.
How do you know?
Grindr's like the gay version, right? Is that? I think my joke is correct.
I don't know. You explain.
It was strictly in.
We'll kick to our expert.
It was strictly in the spirit of making. Oh, here comes the expert on Grindr. T is designed to function as a virtual whisper network for. Oh, thank you. This is actually good stuff. Thank you for producing the show, Zeph. T is designed to function as a virtual whisper network for women, allowing them to upload photos of men and search for them by name. Users can leave comments describing specific men as red flag or green flag and share other information about them. It's recently gained such popularity that it became a top free app in the Apple App Store this week, and whenever this was written. The app claimed Thursday to have recently gained nearly 1 million new follow-ups or sign-ups. Signing up for T requires users to take selfies, which the app says are deleted after review. That apparently wasn't true. To prove they're all women. All users who get accepted are promised anonymity outside of the usernames they choose. Taking screenshots of what's in the app is also blocked. The hacker accessed database for more than 2 years ago, according to T spokespeople. This data was originally stored in compliance with federal law relating to cyberbullying. Well, you know what I say? I say you women get what you get what you deserve. I mean, you're going online wanting to gossip. Look, some of these fellas out there, they don't have the best game in the world, but they don't need all of you hens out there pecking around. You know what I mean? For some reason, and it's not the same thing. I told this story earlier to some of our cohorts over on the Zone. Brent Doherty is who I told it to. Remember that website? It may still be around. Ashley Madison?
No.
Okay, so Ashley Madison was a website designed for married men to go sign up and cheat on their spouses. It was disgusting. It was designed specifically for that purpose. Well, I don't know, 6-8 years ago, Ashley Madison got hacked. And the people that hacked Ashley Madison did so to release the names of dudes trying to cheat on their wives. And I say, good for the hackers, bad for the dudes.
That was a bad day for some guys.
Well, I won't name him, but I had a guy, and I won't name him because, he went through it and whatever, but I had a regular guy that was a reporter for what was then the Birmingham News, AL.com, which was the newspaper in Birmingham, Alabama, and the website associated with the newspaper. The newspaper no longer exists. It went out of business, but the AL.com site still does. And this guy wrote for them and was a 30-year reporter for the Birmingham News. And he would come on with me once a week, and we'd just talk about the stories of the day. It was just like Cameron Smith comes on with me. He would come on with me. He was not a conservative, though. He's a liberal, so we would argue about a lot of things. This Ashley Madison breach happens. And so, of course, every state and every community is looking on there to see if anybody from their community that they know is on the breach. And this guy's name was on there, along with a few politicians and whatnot. And so I'm having him on the air, and I said to him, his first name was Chuck. I said, Chuck, I've got to ask you about this. You can decline to come on the air today if you want. We're friends. And he goes, no, I'll come on. And I said, well, if you come on, I've got to ask you why your name is on the Ashley Madison hack, indicating that you were shopping around for a mistress. And he goes, that's fine. And so I get him on, and obviously it's the elephant in the room. And I said, Chuck, it's been reported that your name was on the Ashley Madison website as someone who was looking for a mistress. And he said, my credit cards got stolen. And I said, your credit card got stolen. And he said, yes. I said, that's the story you're going with. He said, 100%. My credit card was stolen. I said, you're telling me that someone stole your credit card and they didn't go buy a big screen television. They didn't buy a bunch of fancy clothes. They didn't go buy jewelry. They used your stolen credit card to sign up for Ashley Madison in your name. And he looked at Jackson. He looked me in the eye and he said, that's what I'm telling you. And I said, that's not very believable. He said, it's the truth. And it reminded me, you ever watch Seinfeld?
Yes.
You remember what George Costanza taught us about lying?
I haven't seen this one.
He looked at Jerry and he goes, Jerry, it's not a lie if you believe it. And I'm like, this guy, and I had some sort of oddball mad respect because he's telling something. Nobody believes you. Nobody believes this garbage that you're spewing. Yet you're sticking by your story? Okay. Whatever.
Bold strategy.
I mean, I suppose it is certainly a strategy. Anyway, T really has nothing to do with that story except that for some reason it reminded me of it. Women trying to get the scoop on dude. I guess it's a hard world if you're in the dating scene nowadays, I suppose. Dan and Steve, you are up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What is going on?
What are you doing, my friend?
What are you doing, my friend?
I'm sitting on the front porch, getting ready to go pick some fresh corn from the garden.
That seems incredible. What are you going to do with that corn there?
Well, I'm not going to say what I.
Here's what you do: you shuck it. No, well, you pull the husk down, and you sit. No, hold on. Let me tell you what to do.
Off, and then you pull it back up, and you can freeze it that way. And you don't have to blanch, and you don't have to do all that other stuff.
100%. Or you just put it right there on the grill after you silk that thing in the husk. Oh, so good.
Well, I've got to save it because I'm taking a bunch of ears to my dad next weekend. My brother died 5 years ago, so we're going to celebrate his birthday. So I have to do that. But we live 30 miles from Huntsville. So we are going to go alligator hunting, and we're going to beat it. And we're going to say thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. Go beat the gator. I appreciate the telephone call. Always enjoy calls from the front porch.
Is that a vote for me?
I know. The voting has closed, Jackson. I'm sad to tell you.
I think that was a vote for me.
Okay, sure. You can have that vote. You still are losing by a fairly decent amount. I think you're beating me, if that makes any difference for you.
That makes me feel better.
I mean, nobody asked the central question in your story, though, and I failed the audience. If the dude was fishing, what the hell was he doing with the golf club?
What was he doing with the golf club?
Right?
Where did he? It's like in the cartoons where they go get more equipment.
Yeah, I guess beating the hell out of the alligator with a golf club. Dating in this day and age is very hard, I'm told by you. I imagine that it is. I guess you need every. I hesitate to ask if there's anyone listening to this radio show that was also signed up for T. I'll tell you what we will do, though. In a moment, we will tell you how much a problem the media has become when it comes to presenting the real news. We will do so in a montage format because the media is the real villain in the aftermath of what happened in 2016 into 2017. I'll share with you in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Nasty bugs are a menace, and we need to eradicate them from our properties. Look, if the bugs want to stay on wild soil, that's their business. If the roaches and the spiders and the other nasties, if they want to hang out in the wild, I don't care. But don't come on my property because I'm protected through U.S. Pest. If you don't have U.S. Pest protection, you need to get some in your life. 100% money-back guarantee on all full-service pest control. 100% money-back guarantee on termite protection as well. Plus, they offer crawl space service, too. Friends, you need this. Now, obviously, during the summertime, you're probably experiencing fleas and ticks and some of those other things that happen during the summer, but also spiders and stink bugs and ants and ladybugs and even mice and other rodents and critters. We need to eliminate these with U.S. Pest. Two things I'll tell you about J.K. and Erica Brister. They love the United States of America. You'll see an American flag flying on all of their billboards around town. They have American flags everywhere on their property, and they love these United States. And they hate bugs. Bugs are little communists. Go to uspest.com, uspest.com, or call 590-1260. 590-1260 for U.S. Pest. Friends, stinky, stinky, stinky. Those are words that come to mind when I think about auto repair shops generally. Sadly, it's true that for the most part, you smell grease, you smell old rags. You know, it's just stinky in the waiting area and certainly in the maintenance areas. You know, another thing that stinks, a service shop that doesn't call you back when they keep your car forever, when they're not honest with you, that stinks even worse than the smell of that old grease. It's Matt Murphy to tell you about Eurofix. Eurofix takes the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a free 50-minute no-wrench inspection on every visit. That means that they'll tell you what's wrong with your car before you have to invest and before they put a wrench to it. No high-pressure sales tactics. They're just going to tell you what the deal is. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every appointment. Don't pay dealer prices. Go to Eurofix. They have 5 locations to serve you. Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or visit myEurofix.com. Thank you, Ken Weaver. 25 past the hour right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 3225 says America has hated tea since December 16th, 1773. Alan says, what's the word on the big investigation into Mayor Freddie? I don't know. I haven't heard, Alan. Is there a new investigation? Am I missing something? Have I missed a report? If so, I apologize. 3989 writes in and says, I have a pretty positive feeling that old front porch guy was a little deep in the corn juice. Maybe so, but you know what? It's Friday afternoon. Who doesn't want to take a sip or two of corn juice? Corn's good for more than just eating. You know, they say on Old Rocky Top they get their corn from a jar. Is that how that goes? I didn't hear it very much the last time I was in Neyland Stadium.
It's in the. You want to hear the song?
I love the song. I love the song, and I think it's a crying damn shame that you volunteers have ruined a perfectly good song. I'm on record as saying that I believe the finest human being walking the face of this earth is Dolly Parton, and her volunteer fandom is proof that nobody's perfect. Just play it. Turn it up. I'm not afraid of it. She's a bear cat. Everybody now. Y'all, correct me if I'm wrong, Jackson. Y'all, I say y'all because you're a fan of the, I don't mind it. I don't mind going with we and us and y'all when we talk about fandom.
And an alumnus of the University of Tennessee.
Well, there you go. So y'all play, Rocky Top plays after every score, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's not your official, I mean, is it your official?
No, the official fight song is Down the Field. You'll hear that when they run through the tee.
Uh-huh.
And you also hear it when they score before Rocky Top begins to play.
I think it's a shame that y'all ruined a perfectly good song. It's a great song. And you folks ruin it over there.
Ruined. Buddy, have you ever enjoyed a few adult beverages and sang that at the top of your lungs in a crowded stadium with your best friends?
No, typically when I'm at a crowded stadium with some of my best friends,
y'all are just barking at each other.
We're barking at everybody. Yeah,
are you a barker?
I'm a non-barker. I wish that we wouldn't do that. I wish that we would just leave it for. I mean, we do it on kickoffs, where you go, sick 'em, woof, 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 and I wish we would just leave it at that. I don't even do that. I don't bark, and I wish that we wouldn't bark. I wish we had something other than barking.
Well, I wish your dog mascot was better looking, but
he's ugly.
He is so ugly,
and he's hungry. And
he's coming for you.
He's coming for you.
Hey, Smokey's.
Smokey looks too cute.
Smokey's a good boy.
Yeah, he's not. He needs to sit and stay.
Ugga looks like he's gonna.
Ugga's got something
make
going
a mess
on,
on
man.
the carpet.
Did I tell? So
Ugga's seen some things.
I bet I was around Ugga, man. Ugga and I got close last year. So I went to the game last year, and somehow I found myself on the field. Well, I'll tell you how. Our good friend Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the House, asked me if I wanted to go to the game with him. And I said, sure. Who am I to turn one down? And we were up. We went to the game, and we were in a nice little box and got to see, oh, gosh, I can't even remember his name. Brian, the governor of Georgia. I can't even remember his name right now. I'll get it in a second. Brian turned on Donald Trump, that one. Anyway, Kemp, thank you. I got that one on my own, gang.
Like the baseball player, Matt Kemp.
It's been a long day and week and life. Brian Kemp got to meet him. Anyway, so we were asked if we want to go down the field, and so we did, and Cameron and I and a couple of others, and this was before the game. And so I just assumed, and we were watching, and man, oh, man, if y'all have not seen SEC football players really up close lately, they are otherworldly.
They are
large.
so big.
They are so huge. I mean, it's insane how big they are. But anyway, we're on the field, and, I'm a guest of Cameron's, and he's a Tennessee guy, and he's over there to watch the Vols whoop up on the Dogs, and that's fine. But we're right beside Ugga, and Ugga is an absolute right. Everybody wants pictures with Ugga, and Ugga's got his little air-conditioned thing there. And I asked Cameron, I said, when do you think we have to go back up? And he goes, well, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm not going back up till they make us. And I was like, okay. So we watched the entire first half of football on the field.
Oh, that was a good first half.
It was. It was a better second half.
It was a good first half for the Vols.
Man, it was a good game, but I got to know Uga up close and personal. Got my photo taken with that dog, and that's a damn fine dog.
That's an ankle biter.
Whatever. That's a big dog. That's a bigger dog than you think.
Ankle biter.
That's purebred Georgia dog right there. Why does Georgia play I've been working on the railroad? There's a I mean, they don't play that, but I know what you're saying. There's a railroad track that runs right beside Sanford Stadium, which is one of the reasons they do that. It is time for the news. I still have this clip to play for you about the Russian hoax. The Democrats are demanding answers regarding Epstein, and they're about to get some, as the suggestion has been made by the attorney for Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, that she offered up to 100 names. Y'all want names? Y'all might just be about to get them on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, hello there. We're not done yet. We've got 20 more minutes, and we're going to fill every single moment of those minutes with information that you can use over the course of the evening or the weekend. We'll try to keep you entertained in the process as well. 615-737-9986. Yeah, I'm talking about the list. 1513 says that's the list. It might be. Look, everyone was screaming and yelling, Democrats and Republicans alike. Where's the list? Where's the thing? Where's the files? Where's this? Where's that? Trump was like, this is not important. We need to move forward with other things. And we all looked at Trump and said, no, it's important to us, whether it's important. And they have apparently listened. And according to the Department of Justice and the assistant attorney, or deputy, I should say, attorney general, they got some information. And according to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, she handed over like 100 names. Now, the question is whether we believe her. Let me ask you this. Serious question. Ghislaine Maxwell is, by every account, a horrible person. She facilitated the molestation of underage girls. She was a ringleader, along with Epstein, in all of that awfulness that happened. And this is almost an awful question to contemplate, but I think this is where we're getting to. That if I told you that we could nab, let's say 20 muckety mucks, 20 fat cats, 20 rich people, 20 politically connected individuals, let's say 20, and we've got them. And we can put the receipts together with the testimony of Ghislaine Maxwell, and in exchange, we have to take 10 years off her sentence. Otherwise, you're not getting them. I think I would do it. I know it's an unsavory proposition. It's almost indecent. But I believe it would be worth it to get these heretofore untouchables in court and get it on the record what happened between them, Epstein, Maxwell, and the victims. I think of the 20, she got 20 years in jail. And because this was being asked of Donald Trump today, like, what about a pardon for Maxwell? Well, and Donald Trump said, it's way too early. And then the media immediately, whatever he says, they're going to attack him. And that's why the media is just such a disgusting group of waste. They demand, you need to do, and he does, and no, you need to do, and he does, and whatever he says, they're going to go after him as a result. They're trying to turn this into a Trump is bad, Orange Man is bad story, and that's not what it is. But if you were to tell me that we could nab 20 people, 10, 20 people, rich people that Epstein had under his thumb, rich people that thought they were going to get away with this, and she gets a cut in her sentence, I would do that. I wouldn't want to do it, but I think it would be worth it if that's the way we get these people. Now, I've been telling you repeatedly that the media is a problem, and I would suggest to you that they remain a problem. We've also been discussing what I think is a much more serious legal matter, and I understand how serious the Epstein story is when it comes to the news of the day, and that is the revelation on the part of the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. One of the aspects of this story that doesn't get the coverage that it deserves, because it's obviously the media that is covering the story, would be the media's culpability in all of this. It was not just that Barack Obama concocted it. It was not just that he initiated the conversation of a revised intelligence report that connected Trump with the Russian interference or attempts at interference. It's not just that they ran with it. It's not just that they floated it to the intelligence community. They floated it to the entirety of the mainstream media, and the media ran with this story in 2016 and 2017. Now, what is the importance of that? They've not been held to account, and don't tell me they didn't run with the story. We have the receipts.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election. No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes. Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians hacked the election.
If you can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it, it casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election.
Definitively, Russia hacked the election.
All right, we're just, by the way, we're just a minute into 2 minutes of this montage. What do they mean by Russia hacked the election? That Russia engaged in vote harvesting? That Russia... By the way, none of that's true. Russia wanted to interfere. They wanted to undermine confidence in our election processes, but Russia did not hack the election. By any conventional definition of the word hack, they didn't hack the election. I could name every one of these people by name. When are they going to be held to account? When is someone going to hold the media to account for what they did? It's one thing to demand accountability with Obama and Brennan and Clapper and the rest, but it was the amplification by the mainstream media and their snotty-ass, egotistical attitude about it all. They're holier than... Of course they hacked the election, you moron. No, they didn't. But it's all they would say. And I remember it as if it were yesterday. Here's another...
And Russia is doing it again now.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
All of these intelligence organizations.
17 intelligence agencies.
All conclude that Russia hacked the election.
If we find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election, that is completely impeachable.
This dossier alleged a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian effort to hack the election.
The director of national intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump.
You hear what he just said there? Chris Cizilla, I think that's his name, was closer to the truth than one would imagine. He said this back in 2016.
They've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump, which seems a little far-fetched to me.
Oh, really? Well, we now know that it's true. Nothing makes me angrier than listening to these magnanimous, holier-than-thou talking heads that read off a damn teleprompter on a nightly basis and act like they're smarter than you and they're better than you and think you're so dumb for supporting Donald Trump and you're such a moron for not believing everything that they spew out. These garbage people on garbage networks spewing garbage. And they're so right and you're so wrong, and they'll laugh in your face, and they're lying through their teeth. or they're useful idiots. It's one of the two. I want to line them up, every single one of them. I want to line them up, and I want to ask them, were you a moron or were you lying? It's one of the two. Oh, we just believe the entire. Shut up! One of the two. So don't tell me that it. I mean, I'm just sick of people in my industry telling me that I need to get over it. Get over what? Get over the fact that they tried to initiate a soft coup? Get over the fact that Obama reportedly orchestrated a new intelligence report at the hands of Brennan and Clapper, and then they went on these media networks and they said, this is true, this is what happened, and they knew it was a lie. They knew it was a lie. And we're not supposed to expect justice? They ruined 2 years. They didn't ruin it because we overcame it. They attempted to ruin a presidency. They attempted to throw over a president. Overthrow. That's the word you're looking for, Murphy. Overthrow a president. And we're supposed to just, oh, well. They're willing to do this, and you don't believe that they were willing to use COVID to their own advantage to steal an election in 2020? Come on now. Come on now. It's disgusting. And it makes me sick. Because none of these people that I just played you, and I can name all of their damn names, some of them are no longer on media outlets. Some are still on their same outlets, and they're still spewing lies, and no one holds them to account because they hide behind a shield of freedom of speech or whatever. Oh, we were just reporting the facts. Where are they now with their mea culpa? When are we going to get our apology? You know, it reminds me, Jackson, you probably don't know this story. Ray Donovan was, I think, the assistant. He was head of the Department of the Interior under Ronald Reagan. And he was accused of financial malfeasance. He was accused of stealing money, embezzling money. And Ray Donovan in New York City was put on trial for embezzling money. And the entire New York media basically said he was guilty, that he had done it. I mean, the headline after headline after headline indicated that this dude was guilty and was going to jail. And he was exonerated. He was totally exonerated. He was found not guilty. And when he walked out onto the courthouse steps, this is in 1983, 84 maybe. He walked out onto the courthouse steps, and the same media that had declared him, all of them are standing around, and they want to quote, and he said, I want to know which office I go to get my reputation back. It's such a poignant moment. Where do I go to get back that which you stole from me that you can't possibly return? You scumbags. And that's exactly what these people are. We'll wrap it up. Hopefully, I'll try to get it to a lighter note, and we'll fare thee well on a beautiful weekend in a moment on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega. It might seem like a small thing, but I got to call Michael with Alpha and Omega. I think I've told this story. I got screw-ups galore in my email system, and I got like 3 different emails coming into the same server, and I was telling Jackson about this. I've got to call Michael. I was like, who do I call? Well, Alpha and Omega. They can handle the small stuff. They can handle your big stuff, too. If you're a business owner and you've not made yourself aware of Alpha and Omega, you need to be aware of it because they can save you so much time and so much money. If you're a business owner, know this. Ransomware attacks happen every day, and your business is not immune. Alpha and Omega can help you avoid being one of these successful ransomware attacks. 14 happen on a daily basis. They'll take complete ownership in helping you with all of your IT issues, your internet, your printers, your internal computer systems, all of it. You name it, they do it. Cybersecurity is obviously a big deal, and Alpha and Omega can help you in that regard too. 615-784-0096. I'll tell you my experience when I call Michael and his team. It's a little thing, but I know that they're on top of it. 615-784-0096 or ANO.net. That's ANO.net. You know, I say I watch CNN so you don't have to. It is not fun on occasion. What? Why is it so dark and orange in here? What did you do, Jackson?
It is real dark in there.
I mean,
let me fix it.
No. I mean, what? No, what did you do? You Jackson came in here and he got very distracted with the pretty colors, and he got particularly enamored with the fact that he could turn. We have a little strobe system that goes from red to green to blue to purple to orange. And he got very, very affected when he saw what he considered to be Tennessee orange. And so he left our background color in permanent Tennessee orange, and then he turned down the lights real nice and low so that everybody could experience it for themselves. I guess it is that season. When do SEC teams report to camp? Do you know?
Monday.
Is it Monday?
Monday.
All right. I'm very excited. I mean, it's fun. That's a nice.
That was
respite.
a lot of enthusiasm.
I am very excited. I just, we got a month to wait though. I mean, it's a month or a little over a month. Hey, before we go, they're rich, they're anti-Trump, and they don't want their tax cut. According to the Washington Post, rich people are trying to figure out how not to pay. They don't want the extra money that Donald Trump's getting them in terms of tax abatement or tax reductions. That, according to the Washington Post, to which I say, if you're within the sound of my voice, living over in Belmead or down in Brentwood or perhaps Franklin, wherever you might be, if you are rich and you are liberal and you don't want the money that Donald Trump is saving you in taxes through the big, beautiful bill, now the big, beautiful law, contact me at jackson.williams@cumulus.com.
Don't give my email out.
No. Hit Jackson up and say, hey, I want to give the Murphy Show my extra money.
Oh, wait. Yes, definitely.
I thought you might like that. And we'll be happy to collect it and happy to abuse it and use it. Jackson, have a great weekend.
You too, brother.
Y'all have a good weekend. See you next time. Until then, so long, everybody.